Thank you. I will call to order the Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 meeting of the Middleton Select Board. It is 5:04 PM. A reminder for those in the room that this meeting is being recorded. First on the agenda is we have before us warrant number 2615 and facilities project warrant number 79.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you. A few items to call out. So as you mentioned, warrant 2615 dated January 22nd, 2026. You'll see some overtime for the police, fire, and meld categories, about $5,200 for snow. Coming down to the bills payable side of things, coming in at about $1.3 million. Our assessment for the Tri-Town Council at about $7,400. About $8,500 for the workers' comp audit. Just under $60,000 for a new truck at the DPW. It was an annual town meeting appropriation as part of the capital plan. Over at the library, signs of our acting library director hard at work with the new maintenance facilities director. You'll see elevator maintenance there in the amount of about $5,000 and a little over $2,000 for gutter cleaning. $4,200 for academy fees under the police, and then health insurance premiums for the school and town side, rounding things out. And then for facilities project 79, a slightly smaller warrant for the facilities project, $97,085, largely project design, some late changes, some electricity, and just general miscellaneous costs. The next warrant you see come through, I would imagine, would have a much larger price tag, but we are getting towards the end of things, so that's going to start dropping off in short order.
The $3,700 ambulance, is that repairs to the ambulance, or what is that, under fire?
I would have to assume repairs, but I'll double check, because sometimes they have supply purchases as well.
Just curious.
I'll email you. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Okay. Any other further questions?
I'll move to accept warrant 2615 and facilities project 79.
Okay, there is
Second.
been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously. Okay, confirming what we have here for minutes. We have October 16th, 2025 executive session, January 5th, 26, January 6th, 26, and January 6th, 26 executive session.
Hold on October, please.
We are going to hold on the October 16th, 2025 executive session, but we have January 5th, 6th open, in January 6th executive session.
I move to accept the minutes for January 5th, 26, January 6th, 26, and January 6th executive session.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? That passes unanimously. Town Administrator Seltzbach, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A few happenings around town. We continue to host internal budget meetings with some of our larger departments, more recently police, fire, DPW, and the schools, all who I'm happy to report are making great strides in trying to tighten the belt where they can, particularly our partners at the schools. And if you've been paying attention to that, we definitely appreciate their efforts to try to rein things in a little bit over there. These early conversations are pretty crucial because they help shape ultimately what we'll be presenting at your upcoming February 7th budget Saturday presentation, the first pass, obviously with the select board and the finance committee, and those are public, so people would like to view, they're certainly entitled to do so, and we encourage it. Beyond department budgets, we're also eagerly awaiting some of the larger budget drivers. This is always kind of an awkward wait and see time of year. We really want to get going, nailing down some elements of our budget, but we're still not sure about state spending and where that's going to land in terms of the cherry sheet. Also, health insurance and where all that's going to land. Some pretty big budget drivers that ultimately are going to dictate how this budget looks for fiscal 27. So we continue to eagerly await some of those items, and then throughout this month and next, the budget picture is really going to clarify pretty quickly. MassDOT hosted an evening review of the Maple Street Bridge design nearly 2 weeks ago. At this point, it was pretty well attended. Thank you to our partners at MassDOT who, it appears at least so far, have put together a very thoughtful design so far, that, you know, aesthetically, but also functionally. It seems like they're really trying to check all the boxes there. So we'll continue to monitor that, and based on what they presented, it seems like they're going to maintain the schedule they had committed to. So they won't be
Which
pushing it
would
back.
mean construction starting when?
Next construction season. Yeah, of 27. Yes.
February 27.
But right now, they still have to finalize the design phase and then bidding and everything else. The new public records request portal is now live. Thank you to our town clerk, Eileen Twist, for her efforts in implementing that system. The Council on Aging Director search has had a good response so far, and the process is moving forward. Thank you to ATA Bresnahan for that. Now, if you have any additional update relative to that.
I want to thank the screening panel that's working with me on that, and we're working on scheduling interviews already, which is excellent. I think you're going to be really pleased when we bring forward some finalists.
6 people will be, interviewed, 4 of which are current directors and 2 of which are current assistant directors.
We could not speak any more to it because I have not been in touch with everybody yet, so it's still an ongoing process.
But a good mix, either way. And also, Jackie's been hard at work being a Middleton rep for the MassGO superintendent search as well. So I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to offer there.
Yep, I can offer that last evening we began interviews, so we're in the screening phase. So myself as one of the 3 municipal community reps, the 3 community reps, the 3 district staff reps, and the 4 MassGO school committee subcommittee members all began the process. So we had one yesterday, and we'll continue in the evenings next week. And the goal will be that they'll have probably likely 2 to 3 finalists that'll go before the school committee starting in February. There'll be a number of different ways to engage with the process. It won't just be interviews. There'll be other types of events happening as well. And as soon as I have the details on those, I'll share them with all the board members, and we'll share them out as well. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm glad to be able to be at the table.
How about library?
Before we go to that, on the MassGO superintendent, due to the reposting in the process, are they still, do you believe, on track for a July 1 start of the new superintendent?
I think so. I think we'll get it done.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry. How about the library? Any update on that?
So that posting was extended another couple weeks until a week from this Thursday. So I actually will be working with the library director screening committee to meet a week from Thursday, so January 29th, to start reviewing the resumes.
You have some potential.
Some. I'd still like to recruit some more, so I'm still actively working on that, but more to come.
Okay, thanks.
So is your thought on that, when does the extension date close on that?
Noon on the 29th.
Okay.
And then we'll be meeting at 3 later that day for the screening committee. I'm trying to give people an opportunity to come on in.
Okay, but if somebody comes in at the wire,
I'll print them and bring it to the meeting.
okay, got it, thanks.
Thank you for your work on those.
Yeah, appreciate
some
it.
pretty high-profile positions. Turning the page, the entire furniture package for the municipal building project has been sent off for production. We talked about that a little bit today. That's a big milestone. So we're anticipating for the town hall, council on aging building for mid to late February, which is a little tighter than what we had talked about today. So we're just keeping an eye on that. And then the public safety building shortly thereafter. We do anticipate occupancy for town hall, COA community center building to happen first, March 1st or 2nd, and then shortly thereafter, a week or 2 following, having public safety make the shift over into their new building as well. A couple considerations for where they're at. Both buildings, the project overall, I think, is maybe 4 days past schedule, so we're pretty much on target. There are some items relative to the building generator for the public safety building that we want to try to iron out first, just to make sure that everything will be hooked up in time. We don't want to move over and then have them not have some type of backup or fail-safe, especially in the winter. So we'll keep an eye out on that. We're hosting 20 members of the Council on Aging for a walkthrough of the new COA space tomorrow, and that actually includes some of the food pantry folks as well, so they can measure out some of the items there. But this is going to be one of their first walkthroughs with the building in its present state, which, having walked through it today, looks like a building. It is pretty much done. It is really close. A lot of work still to do. But smaller things that, those smaller details that end up taking a lot of time, but.
Like the fancy handrails?
Yes, yeah, like the 2x4 handrails, yeah.
Those are custom, Brian.
Yeah, I can tell.
They are. But we're pretty close there, and I'm eager to show that group the space, and they're eager to see it just so they can better understand and plan out how they can seamlessly continue all their programming and other items.
So when the move-in of Memorial Hall happens, simultaneously that point will be the folks down at the DPW facility, except for the DPW staff. Will that happen the same time, or will it be phased, one building and then the second building?
So the town hall side is all going to happen in one shot. So you'll see Memorial Hall and 195 folks within that same time period. The Council on Aging side of the building, I think, is going to be maintaining a presence down on Maple Street for a little bit and kind of trickling over a little bit based on how quickly they can stand up things over there. The public safety building, as I mentioned earlier, is going to follow a week or two after, but we still have to kind of hash out some of the details. A lot of it is just moving their apparatus up the street. A lot of the tech and everything else is going to be stood up there and ready to go. So, and then we're ironing out files and other things like that, but that'll come, and we have a little update on that later.
Okay.
I'm on the agenda as
Is
well.
any of the old stuff from the fire station coming, or almost nothing?
Equipment-wise?
It's like when you see like the stuff in the ceilings and racks and is everything brand new or some old, other than the vehicles and the uniforms and stuff
Yeah.
and tanks maybe,
Yeah.
is any of the stuff fixtures coming or nothing?
No, a vast majority of it is new. Yep. A lot of it will
All
stay
brand new?
or be surplus. Yes.
When it comes to public safety, where they all work different shifts and that kind of thing, you work it out with the chiefs or the designee as far as days, but then time, like will they be able to do it, while they're working? Say if they work second shift and they can move stuff, they'll have access. It won't just be, business hour times.
Yeah, that's what
into that
what we
anyway.
have to sit down and have a meeting about.
Because that'll
is
help them,
What exactly that's going to look like is, like you said, there's going to be team members that are on shift, but then also if we can get other people on with OT or something like that to help move vehicles up the road or.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna respond to a emergency and then come back and the building's closed because everybody's
You
moving.
go back to the other place.
No, but it could be they respond from one building and go back to the other building.
So
But I'm
just
thinking too, in terms of maybe we don't need to hire overtime just to drive a piece of equipment up the
right,
street.
yeah, even if
Where
it's like
that could be
trickling up
done during
road.
the shift.
Yeah, whether it's here or down the road, it doesn't really quite matter as much. So, but I want to pull the chiefs in on that because they're the expert in that arena more so than I. So I'll have them let me know how they want to make it look, and we'll try to support them in any way we can. The Middleton Social Services Advisory Group is slated to meet again next week. We took a brief hiatus over the holidays, but I imagine a good chunk of that conversation is going to be a bit of a debrief over how things went this holiday season, because that's oftentimes that's when you see a lot of donations come in, a lot of generosity from the community. And we'll probably be talking a little bit about the food pantry move and some other items as well, seeing how we can support each other. So we continue with that work. Superintendent Goodwin and I will be meeting with the town of Danvers tomorrow to continue conversations relative to the water IMA, the intermunicipal agreement. There are some elements on there that are just, we're kind of stuck on and we can't move on anyway, but we continue to work on other language elements, see if we can try to at least chip away and update it, but it's not going to expire on us or anything like that. So we try to meet regularly. And then members of our team are going to be meeting with VRB. They're the consultant for the comprehensive rezoning process that we've been doing. Anna, welcome back, is back in town. So we're going to touch base. A lot of it was set up in a draft form sometime around Thanksgiving, and then we kind of put it on ice for a little bit. But at this point, we have it mapped out so that we can check every box that we need to on the way to annual town meeting and have the hearing process and more public input. There's already been quite a bit but it will go through, formal public hearings with the planning board, which is coming up a little later on the agenda as well. So that's going to be firing on all cylinders. And, yeah, that's about it. We're pretty busy.
Just a little bit.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Brian, come on up. So we have Brian LaRoche from PCA 360, who's going to give us an update on where we are on the Middleton Municipal Campus. And if anybody has driven by the Middleton Municipal Campus recently, they've noticed that the covering over the stone wall has been removed. Everybody was wondering what was happening underneath there. And part of that is not only just the stone wall, but the name of the facility. So that's why we spent 2 whole meetings haranguing over the name to make sure it was correct on the wall.
Yeah.
So Brad, I hope I didn't steal some of your thunder in
not
your
at all.
presentation, so
Good.
floor is yours.
Great, thanks. So it's been about 6 weeks since the last time I was here. We did issue our monthly report to the town early last week. The report, we added a few more pictures and details of what's going on. There's a lot to tell. Our construction manager did give us a schedule update on Friday, and we were, as Justin mentioned, we've been reporting about 4 days over 130. The latest report has us into middle of February for final inspections. And there's a lot that needs to come together. We have the Department of Public Health, the detention area that we need to get inspected. Our security vendor was waiting on equipment that has held them up. Items were on back order. So we expect to have that equipment in hand before the end of the week. So we're pushing on them. We have the phone lines. Comcast has been delayed by MassDOT on getting their phone to the site. So Danvers IT has a workaround. We've ordered the equipment. We expect to have that by tomorrow. And then it should take us a day or two to install. And that'll allow us to get the elevators pre-inspection completed. So there's a few things that are sort of in the schedule that look like could have us going to mid-February for our inspections. We had a meeting earlier this morning with Building Commissioner Fitzpatrick to go over some of the details of what needs to happen. And I think we all agreed that the end of this month is probably a little aggressive, but it will be in mid-February. So I think we have a lot of work to do to hold that schedule. And like as Justin reported, the furniture is late February, so it's a lot that has to come together at the very end of the month. So those are all things that are starting to play out in our schedule. In addition to the town hall stair A, which we've been reporting to the building committee and to you for several months, that is our critical path in construction. And so the handrail that is ornamental is coming in on the 26th of this month, and it's going to take them 3 to 4 days to put that in. And then there's follow-on work that happens after that.
I like the temporary one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, the 2x4s?
Yeah, I
I'll
saw
show
it.
you a picture of it in a
I
little
saw
bit.
it today, I saw it.
So, yeah, I mean, there's still, in public safety building, our architect is on site today doing punch lists. So they pulled up all the temporary protections and cleaned the first final cleaning. We'll do one more. So it is really looking pretty polished in that building. Town Hall, there's a lot of activity with the mill worker. They've got till Friday of next week to complete all their work, and then we can begin the final cleaning process. So right now, it looks pretty active construction site, and I'll show you some pictures in just a moment of what's going on. So as I've been mentioning to you, some of these things I've already mentioned, but Verizon, we have a utility pole on the other side of the roadway that we need to pull power for the traffic signal. And when we went to pull the power, we were informed that the pole was scheduled for replacement, and when that occurs, Verizon doesn't allow any new equipment to be installed on the pole. So we've been working for over 2 months to get a date of when that pole is going to be replaced, and we don't have any update. So Melda's working very hard on it. Jackie has her liaison that she's been pushing very hard. Danvers IT has been working pretty hard to do it. So we're doing the best we can right now.
Who's our point of contact on the Verizon cable arrangement?
I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah,
It's usually just Liam that's dealing with them more than me.
okay.
Brian's kinder than I should get credit for. It's Liam who's pushing it, and I don't remember the name of the gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah.
At one point, it was Stan Usovich, the
Yeah,
former
that's why I was
city
asking.
mayor.
What's the,
Stan
Usovich.
Usovich.
that's not the
former
name.
mayor.
I don't think that's the name,
Well,
but I'll get back to you and tell
If you
you.
can offer any help, that would be appreciated, for sure. Other things that that we're tracking, PCOs, you're going to see in a minute. We have some in draft form that still need to be resolved. We just recently approved a batch 2. So these, some of these PCOs that we're having now, these change orders, are going to leak into February to complete because, they have to order equipment and so forth. So it shouldn't, most of these won't impact occupancy, but it does have construction occurring in February. So we're going to be doing our final inspections. Same time, we're still doing some of these additional items. And I'll get through the list in just a moment. So spring work, there is a considerable amount of site work that will be pushed to the spring. The town green will be enclosed in a site construction fence so that when we open to the public, everything within the area that's active will be behind a fence around the full perimeter. And then we have some other pockets within the site that we're going to be working on. The town hall in front, there's some grading changes to where the flagpoles are. That was part of the town green regrading and the walkway. And then the mail generator too. There's an area behind the public safety, but that's in the secure parking lot that we're working on right now. And then overlay of Route 114, the finished pave will come 3 months after the abandoned water line is completed and the gas line for the mail generator is installed.
And the only gas on that entire property is for the generator.
For the generator, that's right. Yep.
Can't wait for that electric bill.
So here's a couple of shots from the webcam from today. This is of the public safety building, and then you can see looking over the town green towards town hall, just to show you what's going on site. I took this picture this afternoon.
If you could go back to the other one.
Yeah.
That's a perfect shot of, like, we've talked about the town green a lot, but with the snow on it, I mean, it'll look different when there's grass on it, but that's a perfect example of, like, how large that area is. And I don't think folks fully understand how big of a space this is.
It is, yeah, very big. And it even extends to the left beyond
Yeah.
this image, too. There's quite a bit that I cut off the picture. Yep. And then I took this morning of Town Hall from the rear. Shows the windows in the new doors into the community room are now installed. Those were items that were long lead, but also we were kind of holding off because they're so ornamental and worried about damage. So they're doing the hardware on those right now. So that really transforms the room. And then at the front of the building, you can see what it looks like right now. Street lights are really the thing that are the new elements, and then signage and bollards. So all the accoutrements on the site now are sort of all complete. Here's the public safety building from the outside from today. And you can see like the logo for the sign is in above the sign band. The lighting to light up the sign is in. The lights on the seal are lit up too, and then the site lighting is in. So these are all the little elements that are now come together.
Have we talked about, I think we did, but maybe we didn't, the relocation of memorial markers that are in front of the police station right now?
We did.
Are those being relocated?
So we've talking about it, but we haven't come to a determination
Right.
yet.
So that would likely be something that would happen post-project opening? It's not
Correct.
something that we're timing while they're doing their work?
Correct.
Okay, understood.
See, so some interior shots, just to sort of show you the finish. Some of these in the first part of the sequence are from a few weeks ago. So now all the protections in the carpet are up. This is police second floor as you come into the administrative areas. These are the men's locker room for the police. This is the detention area on the first floor. This is from today, showing it's pretty much all finished. Just really now it's card readers, cameras in the cells, and the two-way talk radio that has to be complete. Other than that, that's all we have left.
And when do you anticipate that completion date, Brian?
For the detention area for those items, we are waiting on the part, as I mentioned, for the cameras, which we expect is going to be shipped on Friday.
Okay.
The card readers should be done early next week, and then the two-way talk radio is scheduled for this Friday. So that's where we're at with those. And then the card access system, we got to get the overall thing programmed, and the Department of Public Health is looking for us to demonstrate when we scan in a card that there's an audit trail, so we have to have that system going. So there's some programming that's going to be occurring probably after, at the end of next week, we'll begin doing the programming. But there's no more work within the detention area after that. Some more pictures of the locker room areas. The fitness area, that's a shared space between fire and police. The apparatus bay is now being used as a workshop where all the trades have sort of pulled back to this area. It's still being, the floor is being protected, even though the epoxy floor is in. But all of the equipment and the overhead is complete. And they're just using this as a staging area for their equipment. First floor of public safety on the fire side, this is as you come in from the apparatus bay, the mailboxes, and then the chief's office is at the very end of the hall. And then this is the decontamination area within the, just off of the apparatus bay. And then an interior shot of the administrative area. And this is the new multi-purpose room at the first floor of the public safety meeting room. So that area is pretty much complete. Now they're just doing touch-up.
And just so I'm clear, that multi-purpose room will be available at times for public usage.
Yeah, for community. Yep.
But it's separate entrance rather than coming through the secure area of the public safety building?
So you could, yeah, it has its own door there. I don't know what the card reader situation is, but I'd envision if somebody put.
Yeah, it's through the lobby.
Okay, it is through the lobby, okay.
But if you wanted to just go straight outside without having to go through the lobby, you can enter it, right? Yeah.
But for when we set it up for public meetings, we'll deal with key card access for the lobby, like with either the staff person or the chair of a committee. If there's very few meetings that would be the scale that this room would require that a staff member wouldn't be there. But it would not be, we would not need a public safety team member to be there. It could be one of us or Scott or Kristen.
Yeah, the lobby is set up so that both fire and police are secure, and then the lobby is public. The restrooms are there, so if you're coming into a night meeting, you need to be able to access those.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the idea is you come in through the front door and access the doors you can see to the lobby. Yep.
So the last time I was in that building, it didn't look like that. So size and scale, that's probably comparable to the library space or bigger?
It's comparable.
It's
Yeah, very
comparable.
comparable.
Close.
Thinking it's bigger.
When
Little
you
more
have the
square.
full
Yeah.
space open,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
So here's a view of the lobby, and you're looking into the meeting room beyond, and then, so the fire window is there, the police is just to your left, you can't quite see it there. Elevators into the back right, and then there are two restrooms off the lobby as well. So this image is from today. Town hall interior, so this is the hearing room, that was from about 2 weeks ago. This is the kitchenette off of the hearing room at the second floor. This is outside of the town administrator's office from a few weeks ago. We were there today, and it looks amazing. Like, this is all 100% complete when we were there today. The lobby, this is today. You can see the woodwork is coming up from below. So the millwork is being completed, and then, as we mentioned, the handrail that goes around this lobby and down the stairs is due on the 26th of the month, and it should take them 3 to 4 days to install. And then, because that gets welded into the steel beam in the slab, they haven't finished the concrete around that edge. So as soon as that railing gets welded in, then they'll patch in the concrete, and then that allows the flooring to be finished in that lobby. So there's a lot of follow-on activities that occur right after that handrail goes in. This was actually the hearing room from today. So there's no more work in there, they're done, but they've left the protections in. Another view of the lobby. And then we were just looking at some walls. I took some pictures of future, I think this is where we're gonna put an old sign for the town hall, an older sign. So we were looking at different spaces there, and you can see this is the main floor. First floor of the administrative areas, looking back towards the lobby. So things are largely complete. And then the multi-purpose room, the flooring material is going down. The doors have been installed. The wainscoting is going in, all the finished carpentry. So this is really where a lot of the focus and attention is in the town hall building right now on getting the finishes, and it's really coming together quite well. And,
Is that going to be used as a similar staging room like the fire apparatus floor is being used as a staging room, or?
It probably will. Yeah, they set up cutting stations. They put up tents, and then they cut inside the tent. So
I was thinking like when the furniture comes in and all of that, so.
yeah, they probably will likely use that as a staging point, because its access from the parking area is pretty convenient, so we're not bringing everything through the lobby. So this is first floor, looking from the multi-purpose room back towards the lobby. The kitchen for the community room is off to your right, and then administrative offices for the community center are off to the left. And then they've already done the first initial startup of equipment in the kitchen, so now the electrician's just doing some final connections in there, so it's largely complete. So budget update, we are now drawing down a lot of our balances to complete, so this is on our architect, so we're coming down to the finish on their construction administration. Similar for, actually, I'm sorry, this is OPM, and then the next is under A&E, coming to the end on their balance to complete. So really, nothing in our budget is remaining uncommitted in both the OPM and the architecture portions. And then under other project costs, we do now have the furniture reflected in the budget, so we've drawn down what we had uncommitted, so that number has reduced significantly, but we still are showing about 1.7 million uncommitted in our other project budget items. And then under our contingencies, for owner contingencies, we have a little over $3 million still remaining for hard and soft contingency.
Brian, can I stop
Yes.
you? Just with furniture, just so we're clear too, there's still furniture that we're buying as well that'll come from those dollars. So what we've committed to with Brian is the big furniture packages, but we're still, like, there's certain things we're gonna buy in-house, like pots and pans for the commercial kitchen. So just know that that's not a final number yet. There's still some things that are in our court to
But all those
purchase.
little expenses will come out of
The furniture,
out of the,
FF&E.
Yeah, we still
Right,
have
right.
about 933,000, but we still have the chair invoice that has to hit
Yeah,
here.
I'm sorry, the chairs, yeah.
And then all the small wares in the building too, still have to be purchased. Yep.
I'm expecting those small weirs are probably not running $1 million.
Oh, absolutely not. But I just,
Check it.
just
I don't
not
know
a-
what kind of pots and pans you were thinking,
Just,
so.
no, but just to give you a sense of, like, there's still
Yeah,
some
no, I get that.
odds and ends, that's
Yep.
not a final number yet.
Yeah, so we, let's see, I guess cash flow, we're now on the downward trajectory of our cash flow. The bar, which you ask every month, is sort of those are the unused dollars, contingencies right now we don't have committed. So we have chipped away at it a little bit, but it's still a pretty sizable amount. Our requisition for payment 19 this month that we're presenting to the building committee tomorrow is 1.2 million. We've been billing in the mid 2 million, so the
So
number
it's
is
gonna
really
look
starting
different
to
than
come
the
down.
97,000 that we just, it's gonna look different than the 97,000 we
Yes.
just approved.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Are we still working with the original money, not that second?
Original.
Well,
We haven't gone out to
we haven't
borrow
done the
that
second
yet.
borrowing, so we've used grant money first, then the first debt, and then we're just starting the process on what the second debt will look
Is
like.
the first debt depleted, all that, those funds depleted already, or we still have some?
No, they're not, but they will be soon.
Okay.
So, under potential change orders we're tracking, we have these items. Anything in purple is being tracked on time and material basis. And then yellow is in review with our design team, and blue we finalized and we've sent to Justin and Bill Renault for their final review and approval. So these are all in progress right now that haven't been turned into a change order. And then with Town Green regrading and the retaining wall at the Town Green detention basin, the stone wall, are pending right now. We still are working on refining those numbers. I had a call today with Chairman Renault to go over an alternate approach on the retaining wall, because the pricing we received was about $220,000 for the wall, so we're looking at another option for how we can achieve that for a lot less. And then we have, let's see, $108,000 for MELD, the pad change, which is in our MOU. The MELD would be paying for that, so that's in here too. So there are some sizable numbers, but those account for most of it.
And remind me again, on the items that MELD is paying for, related to the generator and so forth, is it being paid out of this and then MELD is reimbursing, or is MELD paying that directly?
We had hashed this out earlier, and to be honest, I can't remember offhand where we landed.
We're
but
paying.
I think we've been paying it, and they're gonna cut us a check. Was that the?
That's
yeah.
correct. Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
for accounting purposes, it was cleaner that
Okay.
way than.
Okay.
Because the alternative was pulling out certain invoices, sending them to MELD, hoping they pay them, like, we can just send them, here's the number.
Yeah.
And they'll
Got it.
pay us
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, in our construction requisition, they're about 60 to 70 pages long. It's very hard to pull out a
Pull out
cost.
one
and then,
line item.
Sign that to somebody. The requisition sort of stands on its own.
Yep, got it. Okay, thanks.
And that is all. I don't have any requisitions for your approval or change order because we're presenting those to the building committee tomorrow night. So I'll be back at some point.
Okay, great.
I have a question, maybe more of a Justin question. So the new facilities person, that person's fully on board now?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
And have
yes.
they been involved in learning the?
Oh, yeah.
Can you update us on what he's been doing as far as this?
Let's get him on the next agenda.
Okay.
And we'll, as part of just the broad view, department head, and he can kind of run you through, pending his availability, what he's been working on, but I think he'll be.
But he's been
pretty
involved and he's learning the building?
Be-beyond involved. Yeah, he's.
And he'll
yeah,
be
he's-
at Budget Saturday as well,
Okay.
presenting too. I think
Peter is.
he's been busy.
Thorough and exceptional.
Good.
I think you'll be
Yeah.
impressed. Yeah.
I couldn't say enough good things about Peter. He's doing a fantastic job. Very much engaged, and he's been wonderful to work with.
That's great to hear,
Wonderful.
thanks.
Any other questions?
I don't.
Oh, thank you.
Brian, as
Thank you,
always,
Brian.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great,
Great.
appreciate
See
it.
you all.
It's amazing how great it's coming out. No glitches, nothing.
It's like a real place now.
Yeah.
There is the entrance.
Until we get the key.
I know at the end of the agenda, we're gonna talk about move update, maybe this would make sense then, but, have we given any thought specifically toward, what a public open house looks like and timeframe and?
Yeah, I mean, do you just want to take that out of order?
Yeah, because I'm thinking like the public open house at the municipal side could happen on a weekend. I'm thinking police and fire open house should happen before, if possible, before the building is transitioned over. It's kind of hard to do an open house
Yeah, right,
when
once it's online.
equipment's rolling out the door.
Um,
And honestly, I think the police and fire is going to have more interest in anybody that has a kid is going to want to bring them to the public open house for the police and fire.
more than likely, they may find the administrative spaces to be a little boring, but, so admittedly, I hadn't given thought to getting them in before. We're kind of flat out getting the buildings done, so I'm not quite sure what that might look like, or if there's a space in between that would allow us to.
And we've started talking with the chiefs about doing a community day on a weekend when the weather's nicer. And like that would be kind of the one day that like you know, we're gonna keep it nice and do it on a weekend day when they're already in. So we've started talking about that with the chiefs and with the building committee already. But I think it's a nice day. We try to do it when the weather's getting warmer. It's the whole campus it's all in one day, and people can make different stops. I know there's some community groups
I
that have
like that
interest in
idea.
doing some booths on the green.
Smaller guided tours,
So
maybe
what is
throughout.
what's the anticipated timeline, Brian, for when you guys are buttoned up and the town green is turned over? I'm not holding you to a date, because I know this piece is like around that retaining wall.
All of our work, including Route 114, will be completed in the month of June, and probably towards the end of the month. I think you're going to get portions of the town green a lot earlier than that, but so that's what we're sort of planning. We expect to be much earlier
Like
than
the
that.
gazebo, when's that going to be placed?
Because it's all within the area, we have the retaining wall along the detention basin. We have the gazebo, we're actually putting the foundations in. They're going to start next week. We have ground thaw on site so we can put foundations in and get some of that work in. The gazebo itself, the structure arrives tomorrow. So we're going to try and get as much done as we can. So just in terms of like big picture planning, we're saying June, but we certainly hope to be out of there much earlier than that.
And I think we'll be able to narrow that down a little bit as the immediate months progress. They're even not, I mean, there are elements even once it's handed over, but like allowing the grass to establish. Like,
That's why I'm saying,
Right,
like-
like, yeah, so there's certain considerations. Jackie and I have been pinging it back and forth internally, and maybe at the next meeting, we can talk about, what we're kind of loosely envisioning for a community day. And I think we wanted to incorporate some opinions from the building committee as well. I don't know if that happened
They've
while I
given
was.
me some feedback.
Perfect, good.
So I think the building committee is actually going to discuss it again tomorrow night. And I know like WT Rich, give them a shout out. They actually did a booth at Chief Will's Day last year. So we'll certainly invite all of our partners that have worked with us on the project if they want to have a booth as part of the community day. But I think the general consensus so far is that like this is the opportunity for the behind the scenes small group tours. But I think we need to get out of the snow.
No, I agree with
agree.
that. The reason why I was asking is because if we're going to do a community day, I would want it to happen either after that lawn is, because after you guys turn this over, I don't want it to become a mess. Or secondly, it's kind of how to do a community day if you guys aren't done yet with the big outside space, if we're trying to drive families and others, so.
We're going to thread a very small needle.
And I fully expect once the buildings do open, and more specifically the municipal side, probably going to be a surge in folks paying bills in person to want to see. So there's going to be folks that probably the day that we're open are going to be lined up to look at the place. But I view this not as like a community day. This is also a taxpayer appreciation day of like, thank you for the investment you've all made in the facility. And this is the open house of what you've provided the town. Okay, maybe we put that on a future agenda at least, like, and if there's things that we can tie to it and maybe have opportunities for certain boards and committees that have been involved in this to have like a presence there. Surely the building committee and the work that they did, but like even the early version of the committee when folks were doing the assessment and the work that was done long before you even thought of Middleton, Justin, but the work that happened very early on it's not only a chance to appreciate the taxpayers that paid for this, but also say thank you to a lot of the volunteers in town that have actually made this a reality. Okay. At a minimum, I would recommend that we have, no idea how big our town meeting warrant will be. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight, but it'd probably be a good idea to have like maybe some slides that we can show at town meeting as well. Even though the building will be open by then.
Yep.
And
And,
town meeting's gonna be in that building or still in
Oh.
the school?
How
yeah,
many?
there'll still be out
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
At some point, it would be in that building in the,
No.
no, never?
There's no.
We couldn't
Not big
accommodate.
enough?
Yeah.
A town election will move, but a town meeting likely no.
Okay.
We have to take over the fire bay if we did that. So. Okay. Well, that's good.
Works
Brian,
out.
again, thank you for all the work you guys have
Thank you
done.
for having me.
Brian, thank you. Wonderful job.
Okay, next in the hot seat, Scott Fitzpatrick, our building commissioner. Come on up, Scott. So, it's an opportunity, we are doing a regular department head update. Scott, I know you'll spend some time with us on the 7th as we talk about budgets and so forth, but, well, we'll see. We can answer everything tonight, but, tell us what's going on and how things are. And actually, let me start with you with a big thank you to you and your staff through what continues to be a painful process for all of us on license renewal.
Yeah, Lisa put a lot of work in on that.
I
so.
appreciate Lisa, I appreciate everybody on your team, the work, especially on the fire side as well, but also want to recognize that you guys have been extremely accommodating with a continued lateness of some of the applicants, and I appreciate even at the wire, like the day before New Year's, of you folks getting things done, much appreciated.
We appreciate it. We also appreciate the support, from this board. It was, a couple of years ago, it was tough getting everyone in line, and the board stepped up and helped us, and
I think we have a few licensees that we have to continue to get in line. but
we
we'll
do.
get there.
We have a few that are a battle every year, but, Lisa puts a lot of work in coordinating with fire department and all the individuals, and it's not easy, our fire prevention lieutenant is not full-time in fire prevention, he's also on the truck, and, it's difficult sometimes to get everyone in the right spot, but,
Well,
they
thank you to
they
you
make
and
it
your
happen.
team, and send back to Lisa a big thank you for
I will,
us.
thank you. No, we appreciate it. Permitting-wise, in the packet, we included the permits issued for the first 2 quarters of the fiscal year. I guess the positive is we're on par with last year, although last year was not a banner year for building permits. Number-wise permits, where we should be at about the halfway point. Our revenue is a little greater than where we were at 50% last year, probably closer to hitting the target that the CFO, budgeted this year. Still not overly optimistic that, we're going to exceed the expectations.
So here's a question for you on
Yeah.
permits. We always talk about the canary in the coal mine, and, I think you guys, post-COVID, really showed what was happening as rates went up in terms of permits. But talk to me what you're seeing on ADU interest and applications that are coming in.
We've had probably about a half dozen in various stages. We have a couple under construction, the first couple early ones in. There's one on Boston Street and one on North Liberty that are probably going to be close to occupancy. We have a couple that have gone through the site plan approval process that I expect to see permit applications. One of them, the appeal period's up. The other one, the appeal period, if it's not up yet, it's expiring, within the next week or so. So there's one on River Street that went through. I expect to see building permit application for that one soon. We took another application in today for one that'll be on the February meeting. That's a freestanding one. So it's kind of slow and steady.
The ones that have applied, are they freestanding or attached?
One was freestanding, one was attached. So we're seeing a mix.
Have you seen a continued growth in folks inquiring, or did it kind of like happen and then just settle
It's a steady inquiry, people asking about them. I think we have one that's been kicking around with conservation, trying to figure out, because the ADU law only gives them relief when it comes to zoning. They're still subject to the conservation laws, the building code, and, Title V, and so there's a lot to it.
And this may be anecdotal because it hasn't been a large volume, but are many of these about multi-generational, like for kids or parents, or have some of them been truly like
So for the two,
rental opportunities?
the two under construction, the one on North Liberty and the one on Boston Street, both of those applicants say they're for family members. I mean, they don't have to be,
No, I
they can
understand.
rent them out, but one is for a young adult child and the other is for parents, I believe, that help take care of the kids, or,
Okay.
so I think that was kind of the intent when the
Exactly,
legislature
that's why I was
passed
asking,
this,
yeah.
you know, not necessarily just another rental unit, but they can do that too.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Why the big difference in permit fee for attached as opposed to freestanding?
That was
If
the
I'm
cost.
looking at that right.
That was the cost of construction. So the freestanding one was an existing structure that they're converting. So it's simply the basic $11 per thousand. So the attached, there was nothing.
Yep.
The foundation and everything, and the freestanding was a pre-existing accessory structure that it's really a small upfit.
Right,
Yeah.
thanks.
You know, and that's the other thing, we've had this conversation with the CFO, being limited to 900 square feet, they're not the savior when it comes to permit fees, because, 900 square feet doesn't compare to, say, new house construction and a new subdivision.
It's gonna cost a lot more a square foot to build, though.
It will, but it doesn't, a new house in one of the subdivisions, our permit fee ranges based on square footage, somewhere between 10 and 13,000, I think, is the average, and
Oh, what's the average size of that home?
When Angelica starts to get built, that's gonna be huge permit fees, right?
oh, yeah, when they, I mean, I have no indication of
Yeah.
when to expect that building permit coming through the door. I know we've had some discussions on it, but no one's committed. I mean, based on recent activity at the ZBA, I mean, my guess would be we'll see the commercial portion first, but, that's just a guess based on, what got approved and, zoning board has been a little on the slow side. We haven't seen a ton of applications other than some of the ADUs, but as everyone knows, the 40B's first meeting is Thursday night, and that'll keep us busy at the ZBA.
But,
That's the Ferncroft.
but there is
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not prejudging whether or not Ferncroft will get approved or not, but if it does, and the Angelica's project kicks off, there's a possibility all of these could be happening simultaneously.
I guess depending how long Angelica's lags and how quick.
Little overlap.
And how quick Village Road permits, if, because once they go through the zoning approval process, they still have to develop full construction plans, and that's kind of where Angelica's site was the last time I had an opportunity to talk with it happens to be the same architect. So when we did the site visit, I asked them about it, and they were in the process of full construction drawings, which is not a quick process for a 60, 200-unit building.
Oh, we learned that with a big municipal campus, so.
Our new local inspector started in December, he's working out well, he's fitting in good with the team. And, we've been busy down the site, in the home stretch. I know we're there, 2-3 days a week, sometimes more. And other than that, it's more just business as usual.
Okay.
Very good.
Anything that, is either giving you angst or, obviously, you and your team are gonna be moving at the same time, and I think you said we're gonna talk later about files and equipment, but, you've got a ton of material,
Yes.
a ton of material. How much of your paperwork is actually electronic now?
So all the files were scanned.
Yep.
The quality of the scan varies. If it was a good quality print and they scanned it, the scan is good quality. If we start to get into some of the older documents, the scans aren't great. We have discovered some issues with Laserfiche where stuff's in the wrong files, and we just discovered that some of the larger plans were scanned at a smaller size. So what happened is, we were trying to produce a plan, something Meld needed for an issue they were dealing with, so we had a site plan. Lisa tried to print it out for Bernie, and she was having a hard time, finally realized what the issue was, so had to go to the paper file to get the plan and then reproduce it for Meld so they could take care of the issue they had. So everything is scanned except anything new that came in Citizen Serve is in Citizen Serve, but there's still a need in, at this point, a legal requirement to hold on to the old documents.
And is there a plan that all of those documents are going to move with you, or some may remain in the old building?
I'm unaware.
So for Scott, all of his documents move because they're permanent records.
Yeah.
So he will have space in his office, and then there's also a shared file storage space on the second floor, which has space for the inspectional services department as well.
Okay.
What, if anything, can you tell us on Farmer Brown's? Everybody asks.
Not much. Not much. They're,
Underway, it's just.
they're working on the structural repairs, and I think they sent in, might have been the end of last week, an engineer sent an email with some more code stuff for addressing the violations inside, but no new applications yet. I think we're at the point where we're gonna schedule a site visit with myself, Lieutenant Kessel, most likely Jim, the wiring inspector, and probably Gary, our plumbing inspector, and take a look at what the code review says, their engineers came up, and then the path forward.
Is there a time limit on that, Scott, where, excuse me, where the violation was noted on X day? Is there a time limit in which he has to address the code violations?
Where he's not open, I guess the technical answer is no.
Okay.
He could, building permit's good for a year, so if anything, but what he permitted in the beginning was just the structural repairs of the gable end wall, the front porch, and then they recently permitted a structural repair on a wall in the back on the walk-in cooler. The only other thing you start to look at is abandonment of use. Under zoning, if something's been vacant for 2 years, the act that they're pulling permits and making repairs, might give them some stay on that. You get into some real technical stuff. That's something, obviously, we would be talking to Jay about, but, typically on abandonment of use, it's true abandonment. So having building permits and working towards something, in my eyes, really is an abandonment. It works similar to if something was under litigation, the 2 years time period stayed, during litigation. So, as long as he's paying his taxes and doing the work and maintaining the property, it's.
I think the consensus of townspeople that I hear from is they want to see it, everything we can do to help them. Wouldn't
wanna
want the
see
use
it
to
back.
run out in 2 years. They
Yeah.
want to see it up and running. They wouldn't, the more fear is that it goes away and apartments or something goes there or something
Well,
else. I think the people in town really want to see that reopened and.
I don't think you have to worry about apartments, and
Yeah.
Right,
Deb might know a lot better because of
The zoning.
yeah.
well, the deed,
tax,
the tax and the deed
Agricultural.
restrictions that we'll
The
put
back of
on.
it's title land, right?
He has a 61A on that, so we would have the first right of refusal.
I think it's worth
So
far more
we-
to
we
the same
would
type
get
of
to choose to
business than it
purchase.
would be because of its its tax status.
I don't even know the process, because that's not a zoning issue, but if it's even possible to take the land out of that, or, they have to
So
pay back.
there.
You have to pay back
there-
multiple years of taxes.
There is a process.
Yeah.
And you
Considerable.
have to pay your full and fair cash value taxes for 5 years. That can take you out of there, or you can pay rollback taxes. So the rollback taxes are basically what you should have paid during full and fair cash value while you receive that 61A
Yeah.
reduction.
But I think the
So-
goal is to, anything we can do to help him get up and running again, I think we should do. I think that's what people expect. Within
this
the
is-
law. and within
And
the
or
rules.
him
I
sell
mean,
it and
this is
get
kind of
something
like the
running.
discussion about the, the license holders. I mean, all we can do is, review what he submits and issue permits. I
Right.
mean, we can't, we've been very clear, myself, the fire prevention, I mean, believe me, we've been more than lenient with him over the years, on all the different visits we've had. I mean, we can point him in the right direction, we can tell him what's required, which we've done numerous times, but, as far as executing, short of us going in there and doing the work for
Right,
him,
right.
that's,
He,
Execution.
Brown
could have-
has my phone number, he's used it,
Yep.
to get this going, we did a lot of work, triangulating, making sure that he was comfortable with an understanding, man, you recall
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
what he had in front of him and what that, so he can certainly reach out like he has in the past.
yep.
Execution could have solved a lot of this. Okay. Last question I have for you, just with the volume of what you think is coming beyond, I mean, I know that permits are still down,
Yep.
but the big projects that are coming, which is a 40B with a commercial project in front and the potential of another 40B, you feel like you have the volume of staff and bandwidth to do so? If, that's why I was asking the question
Yeah.
of what if this all happened close to
Well,
simultaneously?
the biggest issue, if this all happens at the same time, will be our plumbing and electrical inspector. They're very part-time. They do a good job for the town at what they do, but if we have 260 units going at the same time, especially residential, is that, the commercial's not much. The commercial's more of a vanilla box, and then each tenant will fit out their space, so it's a little easier on them. But if, 260
You're
residential.
inspecting 260
60
bathrooms.
residential apartments, I mean, that's a lot of work. If it all happens at once, or even, one at the same time, I mean, their work, they're 10 hours a week, and we have to keep everyone else going. So although the permit number, the revenue's down, the permit numbers are almost where they are, we're seeing a lot more smaller permits. We're seeing bathrooms, we're seeing kitchens, which keep those guys busy right now. So when this stuff comes in for permitting, if it does, if the cost to borrow money and the cost of construction, we might see it actually come in for a building permit, we might not in the near future, but we probably will have to talk about whether additional hours for them, or, do they use their alternates? Because I don't even know if additional hours work for them, they're both,
Yeah.
have the business and another job, so,
Okay.
I appreciate you asking, but I guess we'll have to kind of see what happens, right?
Cross that bridge if we're there.
Yeah.
So I could probably add a little bit to that. When Pulte built his 500 units over in North Reading, what we ended up doing was we ended up hiring additional part-timers to
Yeah.
come in from surrounding communities, because it wasn't an every day that you were on site for an electrical inspection. It would be like maybe 2 half-days or something,
Yeah, it all
just
depends how
doing
they phase the work.
Right,
Where I
right.
was before, we had a lot of multi-story, multi-family, and apartments that were built in my time there, and we would inspect them in kind of in cores they would get, because they like to build,
Correct.
in core as opposed to one floor, so you'd go in, you'd do the 4 corner units all the way up. So it all depends on how they choose, how their building is phased and how they choose to build it, and the availability of them, of the inspectors.
Okay. Any other questions for Scott?
Nope.
I do not. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, as we talked about earlier in the year, changing a little bit of the department budget presentation process for FY '27. While we still have our first budget Saturday on the 7th, there are some of the smaller departments, we thought this was an opportunity to actually take separately during respective select board meetings. I know the finance committee has their own meetings with all of the department heads, but tonight we thought we'd kick this off where we're going to talk a little bit about conservation, inspectional services, the select board, town administration, town council, and miscellaneous departments that are under the purview of the town administrator's office. So, Jackie, I know you're getting us fired up over here. Is there a certain order you want to take this?
I think we're going to start with Kristen Kent from Conservation, but
Okay,
before
Kristen, come on up.
she starts, just as a caveat to the board members, first off, these are preliminary budgets at this point, so even the version that you're going to see on Budget Saturday is still in progress. And before Kristen starts on her department, just a broad note on the budget that I know Justin and Sarah will get into a little bit more when we have the Budget Saturday presentations. But this year, the budget will look quite different than you're used to seeing, because as part of the move to the municipal complex, we're consolidating office supplies, postage, facilities, maintenance. So a lot of those things lived in individual department budgets because of how decentralized our operations have been. So a lot of changes you're going to see in the departmental budgets aren't always just a decrease. It's that we're consolidating, where there's going to be one postage budget townwide with sub-accounts, one central office supply line with sub-accounts, facility and maintenance as well. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. The other piece is there are no salaries in this tonight. As the board knows, we're still doing collective bargaining. We haven't announced the COLA. So everyone's department looks like it's going down dramatically. Great work on cutting your budgets, but it's also a false decline
Well,
because
because it's level, the salaries are level
are
right now.
not even at zero. They're at zero.
So they're definitely going to look like they went down.
Correct. So just
Okay.
as a full disclosure with all departments coming in.
So we're only reviewing expenses.
Everything but personal services.
Correct.
Okay, just one more question on that process. As you are consolidating a lot of those postage, copy, et cetera, is that including just what's going to be on the municipal side building, or are you consolidating those for the police and fire?
Everybody.
Okay, so there'll be a single budget now, and then that budget will allocate out appropriately to, here's the police's portion, here's Kristen's portion, et cetera.
Exactly.
Okay.
Everybody.
So it'll still be, we'll still see each department what they spend, or not?
For postage?
Yeah.
Yes, we will. We'll have, it'll be the sub-accounts.
Okay.
But it'll be one postage budget for the whole town, every department.
Is this going to sit within the CFO's office or the town administrator's office budget? Like where?
The postage and office supplies will be in a line unto themselves.
Who's managing?
Yeah, who's
That's,
it sit under? Like, it has to sit under somebody's
So
budget.
postage will be with the finance director and treasurer collector, because they currently manage it now. And then a central office supply at this time will be under our department, but that's subject to
Temporary.
development.
So that means you keep the closet with the Post-it notes, and they don't get Post-it notes until you say okay.
Yes, for
Okay,
now.
got it.
Kristen.
Okay, Kristen.
Big bag before you leave.
Stuck up. No one should be, we're gonna buy people things they shouldn't.
I'm
be
only
panic
kidding.
buying.
Peel off a few Post-it notes at a time and really try to
Use the other side of them.
There'll be plenty of pens, there's gonna be plenty, we buy the paper now, you always have paper, it's fine. Adam, if you're back there, I'm struggling, please help.
So while this is queuing up, I will say that this year is certainly a transitional year. It's going to be a little weird. I think looking back on it 10 years from now, it's definitely going to stick out when you're looking at how budgets were traditionally.
Well, it's going to go like this.
Exactly. And I think some other challenges we have as well within this fiscal year is that we're going to be standing up this whole new municipal complex campus. And in addition, still have some of these buildings we're leaving behind, at least for this year, for a good chunk of them. And so trying to pick out trends is going to be a little challenging as well. We've done our best to do projections and our best guess estimates. But as we're looking to build even the budget next year, it's not like we can say, well, this is what it was last year, so we can just carry this into 28. Realistically, it's probably going to take
Still
till
mix.
fiscal 29 or 30 to get into a good rhythm of really understanding what some of these expenses are going to be with consistency.
Yeah, but we saw some of that when we transitioned from IT sitting in everybody's budget over to the early days of an ID department until we actually created a real IT structure. So, I mean, we've struggled looking back at IT spend. Yes, we've invested more, but, you know,
Once it's stable, exactly, yeah, once it stabilizes, though, I think you'll be able to get a good read on it. So, with that said, I think I've gotten us there. So please, Kristen, thank you.
it's all you, Kristen.
So I have a particularly low-key budget. A lot of my items are getting consolidated into kind of the larger funds. And then some of these were pre-existing line items that I'm not able to delete myself, so I have to wait for Sarah to do it. So some of them say zeros.
You're not able to,
I can't delete them.
delete. I thought you said use, delete, okay.
Delete them, yeah. So advertising, we used to pay for legal ads for projects. $150 isn't enough to pay for legal ads anymore, and it's usually paying for other people's projects that come from different departments, so we're just gonna get rid of that and find that money other place going forward.
Kristen, so if the assessors needed a legal ad, it came out of your budget?
So I do a lot of projects for like the DPW or
Okay.
the rail trail, things like that. And so we'd kind of find money to help pay for things if projects
Okay.
came up that were unexpected.
Okay.
A legal ad runs about $300 now,
Right.
so 150 isn't doing it anyway, so. we
Legal
just
ad in the
say-
newspaper that nobody reads? That
Yeah.
ad? Yeah, got it.
That's an inexpensive legal ad too.
Yeah.
That's a short one.
Yeah, that's for conservation, which is like 6 lines, so we're just gonna eliminate that. Do I have this in the same order? Yeah, okay.
You do.
So training and education, that's for both me and the Conservation Commission members, that is proposed to remain the same. Postage is gonna be consolidated, plus we probably have several years' worth of stamps that have just been squirreled away over time, so we'll use those until.
God,
we
I
run
hope
out.
they're forever stamps.
We do have a lot, we have a lot of 2-cent stamps, a lot of random things that we just try to use so we don't waste them. Let's see. Postage, okay. Telephone is consolidated, so that won't be here anymore. Is that even on there?
It's one of the old lines.
Okay. Copier and printing has been consolidated, so that is eliminated. Contractual services, we added a couple years ago when we wanted somebody to peer review Riverview Estates, Kuchar Way.
Yeah.
So we hold that 5,000 now in case strange stormwater circumstances come up, so that we can do peer reviews for the town.
Does
Some-
that sit in a warrant article or in the budget? Oh, you're saying you keep that line item and renew it every year?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying
So like
dollars
this
left.
year is probably just gonna all go back to the general fund.
Yeah, okay,
but
got it.
We keep it every year.
Yeah, is that it's an item that doesn't happen all the time.
Yes.
So is it, give some thought to eliminating that $5,000 and increasing the FinCom reserve, so if it comes, it comes from there. I'm sure there are lines like that in many department budgets. So if you eliminate all of those lines, now, they don't always use that line item, so you don't have to increase the FinCom reserve budget by the sum of what you're eliminating, but a
By a
portion.
portion of it, yep.
Yeah,
Good idea.
we had talked about that, Costa, but I think when it's like less than 5,000, we hadn't wanted to do that big of a move yet, because we also don't know. That's one area where if it's less than 5,000, we haven't moved every cushion from every department, because we know that both 27 and, to the point Justin was making with consolidation, and 28, as we go into next year, between the 40Bs and the move, we're not saying no, but we're saying, can we do that like next year? And if it's less than 5,000 for now, hang on a minute.
Would it make sense to create a warrant article that would sit for a year or two, and then, once you get to that point, Jackie, you move it over to the Finance Committee?
Like a chunk of funds is like a stabilization fund relative to this.
Well, I wouldn't call it a stabilization fund, but like a fund that is utilized, because I assume you have some of it for peer review. I'm assuming there's something possibly in the
Planning would
planner's
have-
budget.
I don't think so. With planning.
I also have a stormwater revolving fund that comes from stormwater fees. that I can use 5,000 out of every year, but we've been using it for other things. So,
Like stormwater things.
yeah, but like different kind of compliance, like
yeah.
MS4 federal compliance. So, but this past year, Paul put that in his budget, so we didn't have to use it. So hopefully we never have to use most of these, and they just sit and then they go back every year, but it's
So other
just
than
in case.
Kuchar Way, which it looks like it was 4,100 that was expended out of there, I assume that was for the Kuchar Way
Yes.
Peer review. Other than that, and obviously, there was a lot of things going on up there that was money well spent. But in the past years where that has sat there, or was that the first time that it
That
was
was
in
the
there?
first time.
Okay, so assuming that this budget had another 5,000, this is what you're proposing right now, like, we don't know what we don't know in the horizon, but given your past experience of previous years, the likelihood is you're probably going to reach the end of FY '27, and most, if not all of that money is just going to be sitting there. And,
They'll go back to the general fund.
I don't know if maybe we should look at, are there other peer review focused areas more than just what you have, that we should either do the warrant article or speak to the FinCom about, we're making an assumption that the FinCom's gonna be okay of like, yeah, we're gonna allow that, because that's their discretion. This isn't our discretion or
Well,
your discretion.
So you create, you do the same thing what I was suggesting, but instead of increasing the FinCom reserve, you put a line item in the administrator's budget that is meant to take care of these things. So it doesn't have to go through the FinCom reserve process, it just has to go through the review of town administrator.
Right.
And us.
Is that any different than it just sitting in the department budgets?
Because by doing that, we wouldn't, if you're, there's $50,000 from the various department budgets that are identified to that, the line item might be 25. So our overall town budget just got reduced by $25,000.
Yeah. Well, we can run the numbers on it and see
Just, you know,
what it,
explore it and see if it can make sense.
I mean, to your point, if there's 10 or 9 other instances of this and it's 50K and we're tying up 50 needlessly, we could just be tying up 25. I suppose that makes sense.
Well, it's not just peer review, it's consultative services that are
Right.
needed. I mean, you know offhand the departments that have that. I mean, just if you think about it.
No, I mean, the other side of it is
three.
I wouldn't want to take away, there needs to be some latitude for department heads as well within their own department. So I'd want to take a hard look at that first, but we can explore it and see what the numbers would come out at and then discuss, beyond that, discuss the merit of it functionally.
Yeah, and this isn't about you.
No,
No, and it doesn't limit what you can do, it just, as you said, Costa, it reduces the amount we have to show on that budget.
well, somehow it
That
ended up
don't
as
always happen.
5,300 and I took 300 out, so.
Yeah.
Look at that, we're already.
Going in the right direction.
I mean, we do all of this, we're
Magic,
actually just
Kristen.
gonna
See?
be reducing our free cash.
Magic.
Yeah.
But
Left pocket, right pocket.
in when you're trying
I get what you're
to
saying.
get in a tough budget
I'm
year.
picking up what you're putting down.
In a pinch, yep, makes sense.
Okay, sorry.
Squeeze where
keep
you
going,
can.
Kristen.
Okay, next, office and operating supplies, they're gonna be consolidated, but I did keep some because I have kind of weird one-off things that come up for my department, like I do the eagle watching and I had to buy binoculars and I have to buy certain specialty books and stuff, so I have some kind of random one-off
You have a
items.
hat for that too?
Like
a safari hat?
So weird.
But now that you mention it, when I bought the binoculars, Sarah got a kick out of that because it's just like a random purchase from Amazon for some binoculars. So I kept 500. I could reduce that a little bit, but I do want to carry some separate from the general office supplies because I do kind of have quirky things
That
that
makes
come
sense.
up
Yeah.
because of my job.
And if I may, that's true of everybody. We just gave them, they kept a little bit for those weird
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that only their department
Yeah,
buys.
no, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Specific to their department.
So next up is travel. That historically has just been the mileage for my own vehicle. This year, the former building commissioner's vehicle is now the conservation truck.
Oh, the pickup?
Yes, it's very nice to have.
Okay, so thank me, you have an extended cab. I talked him into that.
Yeah, it's nice. I have all my shovels and things back there. So as part of that, it's gonna be $1,200 this year. That assumes 2 oil changes, the inspection sticker, and filling up the truck
So
once a month.
that'll be used for the vehicle maintenance?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
Scott said he's gonna buff it and clean it for you
he
before.
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's beautiful.
Full detail done before we turned it over.
Yeah, it's really nice. And that's it for me.
I have a question. Did I miss something? I thought that Essex Correction Facility did our oil changes
Not in,
on
Not
our
anymore.
not in a
municipal.
long time.
No, it's been a while, a long time.
Huh,
Add
Maybe-
that to the list.
Maybe close to a decade.
Yeah.
We get
that just
get
got
some
wrapped
cruiser
right
stuff
up.
done, but they don't
I
do
think,
that anymore.
I think they help out the fire department on some of the administrative vehicles, but that's it.
I wonder how that all went astray.
I'll talk to you later.
There's
Okay.
some back history there.
There's a lot of history there.
And I'm sorry, I skipped dues, fees, and subscriptions. That's our membership in a couple different things, and that's gone up. It goes up a little bit every year, so we increase that a little bit.
So your, does that include your, where is your training sit? Education,
Training and education is near the top
That
there.
runs about 1,000 a year?
Not consistently, but Justin and I had talked about, there's a couple courses I wanted to take,
Yeah,
so.
that's, the
yeah.
reason why I was asking is like, I always ask this of folks, like, what do you think you could use and need in your training to help you in your job? If so, propose it.
So that's included in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. Pretty low key.
I know this isn't a department head update, but anything big percolating in your world?
No.
Get that percolating? You like?
Conservation's slow, just like building. So we've been focusing a lot of stormwater compliance stuff that we need to do. The Eagle monitoring started back up this month.
Open space and rec
Out
plan
there with
coming
the
up.
binoculars?
Yeah, I sit and watch them for an hour and a half every 2 weeks. And then Justin and I are kicking off the open space and recreation plan update. So that'll be forthcoming as well.
Good, good.
Any questions?
Thanks.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if we could take Mr. Fitzpatrick for inspectional services and then briefly table the remainder of that item to take SCSD out of order.
Yep, yep.
As much as I'm sure you're interested in the nitty-gritty of our budgeting process. Thank you.
Scott, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm gonna sit over here so I can see the screen.
Bring your glasses.
Perfect 20/20 vision.
There you go.
A little braggy.
Should have you look for the Eagle then.
I know, right?
Okay, so run us through the highlights of your budget.
Well, overall, we're down about $893. We started, obviously, the zero-based budgeting. So we looked at every line item, and so we're able to save a little bit of money. There is some shifting. Some line items went down, some went up based on the actual costs. Typically, it would be a transfer for Sarah. So, yeah, training and education is one that we went up $872 on, and all we did was we talked with the inspectors, plumbing inspector, electrical inspector. They gave us what their required classes are for the year and what they cost, and then we figured the 3 building inspectors. So that's an actual cost. Postage, telephone, that all came out previously. Contractual services at $9,000 stayed the same. That's our contract with the state for weights and measures. Because that falls, weights and measures falls under us, but the state actually
manages it now.
performs the inspections. Our office supplies were.
On the weights and measures, do we pay that directly, or does that come off our cherry sheet?
We pay it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get an invoice once a year. I forget what month it comes out.
It's a weird time of year. It's like
Yeah, it
soonish.
Kind of coincide with,
Okay.
Is it March?
It feels, yeah, like it's soon. March.
So it's not a cherry sheet deduction?
no, we physically process a invoice through Sarah's
And
office.
it's based on the volume of what's done. It's not like, here's your population, here's your fee.
No, when I first, it's gone up significantly since I first started. I want to say my first year here, I think it was about $3,500, and I think back then it was more of a flat fee for the town. And then there was a change in it,
2 years
Wait.
ago.
it might have been a little longer than that, the weights and measures, where they actually looked at the amount of work they were doing in each town and started billing accordingly.
So, does every town do this, or is it towns of certain size, like?
I believe it's towns of certain size are lucky enough to contract with the state to do it and not have to
Do it themselves, like they used to?
do it themselves, hire someone who's certified to do it, and provide that inspector with all the equipment needed to
Yep.
do everything from scales to gas pumps and oil trucks.
Yep, okay, thanks.
No problem. Office supplies, we went from 4,200 to 2,000. Some of that was based on the central buying that's gonna be done, but we do purchase a lot of department-specific stuff, card stock for printing permits and,
Your big printers and all of that.
yeah, stuff like that.
So, some of your office supplies, is it just a reduction, or some of it is transitioned over to?
Some of it is transitioned
Okay.
over, and I did look at the historic numbers, and, they talk about centralizing the office supplies, but really, down there, like, we've never paid for copy paper, we buy the stuff for the plotter, so there's a lot of stuff we haven't bought.
Well, it's because you've been co-located with others, and
Correct,
now you
and,
can come up to the town administrator's office and take
Oh,
his
no, we
copy.
buy your copy paper, don't,
yeah.
that's my budget, that
Kenny used to
we
pick it
dole out
up,
to
2 boxes at a time from town hall and bring it down.
you. And then we couldn't figure out where the copy paper was going.
Now you only have to go
$1.95.
upstairs.
Then the,
And everyone will watch.
oh, yeah. The travel went up a little bit. That was based on what I projected for the fuel cost of what we've spent in the,
So that's the fuel cost for your vehicle, but also mileage for your
so
staff that are doing,
12,000 of that is mileage for the part-time inspectors. They get a monthly fee, and as what Tristan said, I figured with the mileage, we do 2 oil changes a year, an inspection sticker, and then it just took the fuel we've been using and tried to come up with a monthly number and multiply it. Operating supplies had stayed the same. That's a line item that we, so we use something called Upcodes right now, which is an online version of the code. We pay for the subscription out of that. I want to say that's about $900 for the 2 licenses we have, but it gives the current edition, past editions, and it's actually all the mass codes, including fire prevention. We have all that, and it has all the mass amendments incorporated into it.
and does the fire department use your fire codes, or do they have their own subscription?
Lieutenant Kessler and I work very closely on a lot of the fire prevention. They don't have their own login yet, but I've, on more than one occasion, looked stuff up for them, shared the info with them. The dues, fees, and subscriptions actually went down a little. Once again, that's the professional associations for myself, the 2 inspectors, local inspectors, plumbing and electrical inspector. That's based on the actual
And
cost.
do you feel, on your same question I had for Kristen on the training and education, especially with, and I know some of the new staff you brought on are not junior, they're experienced, but do you think there's any additional training and education that is needed?
I think with the, with what we figured with the $872 increase, that covers all 3 building inspectors doing all the training offered by the NBCIA, which is the association that we belong to. We also have the opportunity to do some free training with the state inspectors with District 8. Right now, they hold them out of Haverhill. Might be a good use for our new public safety room once in a while. That's a free, monthly meeting that we get good topics on, and
Good. Okay,
credit hours, and it's free. That one's free, so.
okay.
That with operating supplies, that one's also a little higher, because that's also where you, when you do have to buy the physical code books, you buy those out of that as well.
We do, yes, so and that's also, you know, upcodes, that's just the big thing that comes out of that one. We've broken it down, we put it in the budget. We do have to physically own a copy of the code books, but, you know, in the past, the office would have 2 sets of that, and the electrical code, plumbing code, the gas code, you know, we have to have in the office 1 hard copy. And then recently, electrical inspector, there's a handbook that accompanies this code book, we purchased that. And
Have you seen a lot of changes, like, over the last 3 or 4 years in the codes, or are they pretty much?
well, the mass code, have been, we're on the 2021 code right now, which they had been talking about adopting for 5 or 6 years. I forget, Andy was still here when I started carrying that number to buy the books before we went to upcodes, and I want to say we carried it over 2 or 3 years before they actually changed the code.
And a lot of the changes that are being proposed are around energy efficiency.
Correct, and us not being a stretch code community helps with some of the big changes.
Yep.
You know, so we're on the state code cycle, you know, they're already working on the next edition, but,
What's like every 5 years they change?
so the ICC publishes a code there's a 3-year code cycle.
3 years?
When they first started talking about this, when they went to the international code on the 8th edition, I believe, they wanted to get on the state cycle. But, you know, so in Mass, we went from 2015 to 2021 because at the state level, they started to work on adopting the 18, and it just was taking so long that they ended up adopting the 21, but they adopted it in like 2024. So, you know, the state's well behind on, if they stayed on the ICC cycle, and it's because they amend everything. Big process.
Any questions for Scott?
I do not.
Thanks.
No, looks good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
So, we won't see you on the 7th unless you have something really big that,
Nope.
okay.
I got one more thing, so I'll be here.
Okay, so we're going to move temporarily down to item number, let me see here, 7. South Essex Sewage District. Discussion around Proposition 2.5. And we have with us this evening,
David Michelson?
David, you can,
Here, there, where's the best?
you sit where you want to sit.
Here,
Or you-
here, take a seat
you
at
sit
the
right
table,
here.
yeah.
Go next slide as needed?
Perfect.
Okay.
So just to set the table for folks at home that may be watching this, and folks are probably asking sewerage, why are we talking about sewerage in Middleton? We're all
Exactly.
septic. There is actually some sewage in Middleton, a small portion of it over near the Ferncroft. Many of the high and low rise over there, as well as the hotel and the office building that's there. And annually, this board and town meeting approves a budget for our assessment to South Essex Sewage District, and we are part of that district, which you're going to tell everybody about.
Correct. So yes, thank you for having me here today. My name's David Michelson, the Executive Director of the South Essex Sewage District. I'm going to spend about, 10 to 12 minutes going quickly through what we do and why we do it, just to bring you up to speed a little bit, and then tell you about some of the things that we're facing here in the near future, and some of the outreach we're doing to our community members, and that's why I'm here tonight. So I've got a presentation here. So the South Essex Sewage District was established by an act of the legislature back in 1925 to maintain and operate a sewage system to collect and manage and dispose of sewage from Danvers, Beverly, Peabody, Salem, Marblehead, and portions of Middleton, including several state entities. We currently serve approximately 190,000 people and businesses located in this geographical area. This is a map of our Middleton service area. This is from a survey we recently compiled. And this shows the areas of Middleton which are currently coming to the South Essex Sewage District, as you already mentioned. This includes primarily the Ferncroft development that came through legislative change back in the 70s. And then we also do serve several state facilities. They've been members since 1925, and that's changed over time, but those properties have stayed with us, including the Essex Tech, the jail, and the Department of Youth Services. So some of those state entities, former county entities, are now coming our way. So what do? We convey the wastewater from our member communities to our wastewater treatment facility in Salem, that's located in Salem, through a system of large interceptor pipes and pumping stations, where we treat, clean, and disinfect the wastewater through our high-rate treatment plant, and we pump that purified wastewater into the Salem Sound. Why do? We do it to protect public health and to protect the water quality of the Salem Sound. This is an aerial view of our wastewater treatment facility. That is the footprint power generating facility. In the background there, and to the right is downtown Salem. It's about a 14-acre site, and we are very much compressed onto that site. It's a very tight site. All those green areas, you can see several large lawn-looking areas. Those are actually all underground tanks. So we are chock-a-block with infrastructure on the site, located right in the Salem Harbor. So giving a little bit of history on our assessments, we've really had a flatline assessment for the last 25 years. So our assessment has stayed about the same to the member communities. We're a wholesale provider, so we just send out assessments. I believe it's 7 times a year to the member communities based on what they send to us. And that's been stable for roughly 26 years, as that red top line shows. However, there's some stories beneath that. Our operating budget has been increasing steadily. We've been increasing that at 2.5% a year based on our Prop 2.5 requirements. So that number's been going up at a constant base. And then our debt, which we took on significant debt back in the 1990s when we did a $200 million expansion in secondary treatment plant, that debt, which has been falling off. So we've been able to maintain a constant assessment for the past number of years, but now that debt's almost all gone, and we're going to be in a different perspective in the near future.
In 1990, when that debt was taken on, I assume a 2.5 debt exclusion.
Override.
There was a debt exclusion put together for that, and we had a consent order at that time too. So early 1990s. Yeah.
So during the consent order in the debt exclusion, was the debt exclusion, how was that done? Was that done through a vote of the member communities?
It was special legislation.
It was done by
Yeah.
What year was that?
It was a couple of different acts back in there, but early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. As we're referencing here, we are subject to Proposition 2.5, which is actually a slightly different piece of legislative document for sewage districts referenced on the slide. And the budget graph here on the right shows our expenditures. And what I want to highlight to you today is most of our expenditures we don't have a lot of control over. So over 40% of our expenses in an annual year are operational expenses, including residuals disposal, chemicals, and energy and power. So labor is only roughly 25% of our budget. So we really, and much of that labor is state mandated because we have to operate 24 hours a day. So as we look at this, we really don't have we have a lot of constraints on our budget because so much of it is set based on market rates for residuals disposal on power and chemicals. And some of the budget pressures we are managing, our labor and our fringe benefits are increasing due to inflation, including health insurance, certainly. Chemical costs roughly doubled during the pandemic. And then our residuals disposal prices going up tight, very above 2.5% each year because of PFAS and a tight residuals disposal marketplace. So we're coming to a point in the near future where we're going to have some challenges. And this kind of graph shows where we've been over the last, where we've been and where we're going. The blue line at the bottom is our operating budget. The orange line is our debt. And the green line is capital items that we were actually maintaining and running beneath our Prop 2 or beneath our exempt debt, our exempt budget amount. And as you can see, down through 2018 to 2023, we're able to do roughly $2 million in capital each year to maintain and restore the treatment facility while staying under Proposition 2.5. I will say this does not include the exempt debt budget item, so that that debt excluded debt. This is just the
But-
non-exempt
But the
portion of the
debt
debt.
that I'm seeing here in FY '26 for the new clarifier rehab, how big was that project?
That was a $20 million contract.
And that was done
Under-
within the confines of 2.5?
We just met that one, yes.
But-
That's an SRF contract, yes.
And how long's the life of that?
That'll be,
Because looking at this, it looks like, just looking at the trend here, it was very evident in FY '26 that by FY '28, you were blown through the cap.
exactly what this
So,
slide shows, yes.
was there any discussion in FY '26 on the clarifier of actually doing a debt exclusion for that? Like you did in the 1990 capital project?
That project started out as a $12 million contract, and we had two different change orders that came on over time. So when we initially started that, we were thinking a $12 million note. We had a change order for change site conditions, and then we had to bring the contractor back when we had a ruptured sewer pipe beneath the foundation of our operations building. We did an emergency change order with SRF. So that grew unexpectedly, and is leading to part of our struggles in a day-to-day here in the next 2 years. So you can see now in '26 and '27, we are basically right at our exempt budget with very little amount of capital. I think we still got, we had like $600,000 or $700,000 this year in our capital budget under that we were able to work in FY '26, FY '27. I'm putting that budget together now. That'll probably be in the $500,000 to $600,000 range again. But in FY '28, our 11-year contract for residuals disposal will end. So this is, we're entering our last year of that in FY '27. So we bid that 11 years ago. Well, it was a 5-year contract with 3 2-year renewals, and that budget will end. And we're expecting roughly a 40% increase to 50% increase on our residuals disposal price. So what's now $4.5 million or $4.8 million line item could be going up to above $6 million. And that is, needs to be beneath, that is part of the non-exempt budget. And that is showing where we're now in FY '28 anticipating being above our exempt debt.
So a question for you is, historically, have you run at the top of your 2.5 capacity, or have you left historically in your budget cycle some additional capacity? Like, do you have some financial policies that you operate under, which is, X amount that we keep in 2.5 capacity?
We've been running at the 2.5% capacity since 2013 or 14. And what we were doing is using that's that green bit, which is our capital, which we were running within the operating budget, within Proposition 2.5. So we built a cogeneration facility that was built with cash. We did several different upgrades, a new plant water system, new mixers or upgraded mixers on our tankage, and those were all, many of those were paid with cash. And then this, the 18-1, the clarifier contract, we anticipated being, we were going to bond that over a 20-year note but we figured we knew we had it underneath the operating budget to pay for that non-exempt debt. So bringing it back once again, or starting from a different position now, many of our plant-wide upgrades were completed back in 1998. They're almost 30 years old. So a lot of them are beyond their design life and or obsolete. So our ongoing maintenance and capital improvement projects, which we have been able to maintain, we're not keeping up. We have a lot of collection system, high-risk assets that are aging and need to be renewed. For example, there's a single 48-inch force main beneath the Beverly Harbor that brings on all the wastewater from Middleton, Danvers, and Beverly over to our treatment facility. That is 25 years old. Residual disposal costs are increasing significantly due to the limited capacity in the region. We've talked about that. So we want to minimize those residual volumes to reduce our operating costs and residual disposal costs. And we need to be cognizant of sea level rise and vulnerability due to storm surges. So we've been working with a couple of different consultants to come up with capital plans and capital needs assessments of what we need both on our collection system and at our treatment facilities. And some of the projects here are highlighted. Residuals processing equipment, replace our 30-year-old dewatering equipment, that Beverly force main replacement. Now we're also looking to optimize our secondary treatment process, which currently could perform better under high flows and during rain events. We want to do better at performance of that treatment plant by making some modifications to our secondary process. Next slide, please. So we developed the Centennial Plan, and this is an assessment of our wastewater treatment facilities and our collection system needs. So these plans are now complete. And we've identified the upgrades and the needs we have over the next 20 years. You can see the numbers are pretty high. It's over $430 million in that range for over the next 10 years. And we're not feeling confident in providing estimates for the next 10 years at this point, because so much can change in terms of costs are going to be and then needs even 10 years out. But we do have a fairly accurate, or we do have a fair level of confidence of what we need to do over the next 10 years in terms of capital expenditures. We brought in the Collins Center, and they're
Yeah, we're very familiar with
they're
Collins.
familiar with Collins Center. They're working with us on how we can finance this capital work. They looked at options including SRF, WIFIA, which is a EPA loan program, and general obligation bonds. They developed a financial model looking at a mix of WIFIA and general obligation bonds, and they're looking at, as we talked about, just those first two tranches of project, the first 10 years. They built into the model the projected increased operating costs, and they basically, working with them, we've determined that our assessments are going to need to roughly double over the next 10 years to meet the ongoing capital and operating needs. So to bring it to summarize a little bit, our projected increase in assessment is anticipated to exceed 2.5% for two reasons. One is the projected operations and maintenance cost increases. Residuals disposal, as the marketplaces have been increasing at roughly 7% over the last recent years due to the plants closing down. There's a land application ban in Maine that's caused some ripples. Now there's legislation in Massachusetts that would ban land application in Massachusetts. So all the outlets are tightening and the demand is not going down. And then, as we talked about, the other costs have increased as well. And then also on the Proposition 2.5 side, we also have the costs and debt associated with the capital upgrades. So we're looking for relief from Proposition 2.5 through special legislation. We're looking at a couple different options, one of which is a full exemption from Proposition 2.5 for operating and maintenance costs, as well as the capital improvement plan. We do want to point this out that this is not dissimilar to how other utilities are managed. This approach was similar to the founding legislation for a new sewage district formed in 2014, the Mansfield, Foxborough, Norton District. In addition, the MWA, Springfield Water Sewer Commission, they're not under Prop 2.5. An entity town that's running a treatment facility that's got an enterprise fund, they're all and financing it through their sewer rates. They're also not falling under Proposition 2.5. So potential consequences, well, a year from now, I'm going to be sitting down and trying to prepare a budget, and I'm not going to be able to meet that balanced budget under FY28 under Proposition 2.5. Due to the projected budget increases, we're anticipating $1.5 to $2 million increase in our residuals disposal price. It's going to go right to our budget. Operating costs are difficult to reduce due to our state mandated staffing and our non-controlled operating costs, power, chemicals, residuals disposal. Any budget cuts we would need to do, they would going to be right at our maintenance staff and what we're spending on staffing on the maintenance side of thing and on spare parts. So that's really going to severely impact what we can do to maintain things at a time when our equipment is aging out. This is going to lead to delayed capital investments, going to lead to failures and increased expenses for emergency repairs. And then really the result of this is reduced plant reliability and performance, permit violations, harmful water quality impacts to the Salem Sound, and eventually monetary penalties, including fines, and probably eventually a federal EPA consent order. So we're looking for support as we work down this. Some of the benefits of providing the support is we need to address this imminent operating cost budget crisis where we're at. We need to replace and rehabilitate our aging critical pipes and add redundancy to our collection system. We need to improve the treatment plant performance during precipitation events. We want to reduce costs by improving our treatment plant efficiency, and then reduce reactive maintenance costs and focus on preventative maintenance by upgrading our obsolete equipment, and then continue to provide support, superior treatment and high quality wastewater or treated wastewater in the Salem Sound. We don't think we need an official act is going to be required by the town of Middleton as we go through this. We're having conversations with our member communities and with our legislative delegations. We're coming up with approaches and the outreach and support we do need, and we just wanted to keep you in the loop because we've talked to all our legislators, including your senators and reps, and we've had meetings with Danvers and the whole 9 yards. So we really want to make sure you're apprised of this situation, but we're not certain anything, and there's a specific need for anything from the town at this time.
I have a question. You mentioned the jail. Does the jail pay their fair share, and how does that work?
Yeah, we send them an annual assessment as well, or a series of assessments based on what they send to us.
They're connected through Danvers.
Because they're connected through Danvers as well. Yep.
And same with the new school.
Yes. Yep.
So they pay the same as a private user using the same amount?
And Danvers, yeah.
And yes, yeah.
What other sewerage districts are abutting South Essex Sewage District? MWRA?
Not quite. We've got Lynn in the middle.
Lynn Water and Sewer.
Yeah, Swampscott, which heads down to Lynn. Swampscott's got its own collection system and goes to Lynn.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking this is, so on one of the slides, you showed a multi-year, like, potential costs, and then the out years, it was still too early for priority 3 and 4. So the footprint that you're sitting on now, and you described how tight you are there, there's always questions that we have around capacity. I assume you've got a capacity issue as well as a facility and an aging infrastructure issue and a budget issue. Like the plant and the facility you're sitting on, like, what's the life expectancy of what you're sitting on there? I mean, what I'm getting at is a bigger question here of, like, is the South Essex Sewage District, even with this $500 million investment, in which will likely be larger in years 11 through 20, but once you get to priority group 4, you're kind of right back again because you're looking at upgrades of things that were 20, 25 years old that have reached redundancy. So, I mean, this is a regular refresh. Is is there a point of looking at, for capacity, that it's a larger district or a different facility, or, because what I'm trying to get at is, I assume if this goes to the legislature, for whatever the process is, it's either to do what was done with Foxborough and others, or what was done in the beginning with MWRA, and there's no shot at you, but like what the MWRA was in the beginning with marble ashtrays and teak furniture until the MWRA was brought under control. That happened very early in the 90s. Thank you, Fred Lasky. But the bigger point is to grow capacity in the member communities. I mean, we are a small sliver of your both utilization today and a small piece, but there is an area around that district that there's always been questions about increasing capacity, and the response has always been, there's no capacity. But if we're looking at a $500 million infrastructure approval, at the end of this, is capacity going to change? And the reason why I'm asking that is like, that may be when you're long and retired and I'm long and buried, it may be the South Essex Sewage District and Lynn or MWRA ends up merging. I mean, I look at what your district and your capacity looks like today and what it looked like 25 years ago. You get the question? I'm
Yeah,
kind of...
yeah. So at this stage, we're taking a harder look at that capacity as we have been for a number of years. We did have Rousselot close up shop in Peabody, and they were a substantial portion of what was being sent to us through Peabody.
That is the old tannery.
That's the old, Eastman,
Eastman
shop,
Kodak,
yeah.
sorry.
Yep. And as part of that, we're also looking at the new push for housing and the ADUs and what that's going to do to the member community. So that's a concern, and there's several large developments, as you were discussing earlier, in Salem and other areas that are.
Well, one of them is being proposed right within the South Essex Sewage District,
Mm-hmm.
right now in Middleton.
In Middleton.
Yeah. So all those pieces are, contributing to the potential future flows that are coming our way. As you noted, there's this capital upgrade is not an expansion. And so we do need to track our capacity to make sure we don't overgrow it. When we were built at, I think we were at 93% capacity when the plant was expanded in the 90s. So it's been kind of right size from the start. It wasn't built extra big to accommodate growth. Certainly when we did the secondary expansion in the 1990s. We're getting a lot of phone calls and interest in other communities to do the same thing, to grow and meet their needs and maybe eliminate their treatment plants, Manchester by the Sea, or expand up into Wenham. And so that's all the things we're trying to weigh and balance to maintain the needs for what the growth within the district boundaries, and then to allow the district to grow or not. And then, to think about the next step of combining or sending to MWRA or sending to Lynn Water and Sewer, who have their own challenges, that's not something I've spent much time on in all honesty.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay. The towns the towns that are in your district that are not a city is Danvers, Middleton, and a piece of Wenham, correct?
And
Marblehead.
Oh, and Marblehead as well. Have you presented to those towns already?
Wenham is just one small development that comes in through Beverly.
Okay.
So we have presented to Marblehead and Danvers on several occasions, yeah.
Okay. And is your expectation, if you're going before the legislature, to get this wrapped up before FY27 starts, or is this to really set, is FY27 going to be the horrible year for you, and then breathing room is going to come in 28?
The FY27 budget will should be balanced because our residuals contract has not hit yet. So we will, the FY '27 budget starting July of next year shouldn't be a significant issue. We should be okay with that. So we're really looking at FY '28 as our challenge year. We are trying to get this legislation approved in this current legislative session, which ends July of this year, actually. So we are under the gun here. We're working with Senator Lovely to come up with a game plan of what she does need for signal community support from the mayors and, town administrators and whatnot, from the 5 voting members, and that's kind of what we're focusing on at the moment.
Okay. And the last thing I'd have for you is, we have a parcel of land that the town owns that abuts your district. Would love to have a conversation with you about the ability for that parcel to be tied into the South Essex Sewage District. We are gonna do something with that land at some point in the future, but we wanna be, as a town, like, forward-thinking with it, be respectful of the environment of the neighborhood and the community, but allow the town to be as supportive of opportunities for the townspeople. And part of that is the ability to talk about connectivity. So I'm going to ask you tonight if we can have that conversation
Sounds
in the not too
like a
distant
reasonable
future.
request, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
And what was the name of the development that?
It's, the parcel of land is on Locust Street.
The town-owned land we're talking
Oh,
about.
are you talking the 40B project?
Both,
Or-
I guess.
Okay, so there's a 40B that has been proposed, that has just recently been filed.
35 Village Road.
35 Village Road. It's the, for lack of a better term, the Verizon building.
But they're under the assumption they already have the right to hook up, what we've heard.
That's what they say publicly. but-
Right, from them. But we're more interested in our own parcel.
Yeah, our
Which is
parcel is
zero
Further
locus.
down the street.
a little bit further up the store. If you think of the far reach of your district in Middleton, where it reaches in, is where the low-rise condos and,
Do you go to
Ironwood.
Copper Mine? Do you go to the homes behind the Ferncroft Golf Course?
well, that's
Does it go
Danvers.
all the way
No, that's
down?
Topsfield.
That's
Copper Mine is
Topsfield.
Topsfield.
No, but I'm trying to give you a landmark as to where
Yeah,
we're
I don't
talking.
have a good
Okay.
enough.
Do you know where the golf course is?
Yep.
Right across the street.
Yeah, across the street.
Yeah.
So we have a large parcel of land there that at one point was being proposed for school and never ended up being used for a school. So we're looking to utilize that land differently and find some partners to do something appropriate in that neighborhood, which would actually, we're not looking to put an office building in, we're not looking to put
No.
anything like that. It would be housing, but it would be housing that would allow us to possibly have some affordability there, and affordability is going to be driven really by ability to have access to the South Essex Sewage District. If not, it's going to be land that's going to be large, single-family homes with a septic, which we have a town full of those.
Understood.
Okay,
All right, very good.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, so,
Can we go to item 5?
yeah, I say
Mr.
we
Chair?
take the rest of the department budget presentation, select board, town administrator, town council, and miscellaneous under the town administrator and put that off for another meeting.
Sure.
Okay. So,
Number 5.
So we can get Scott out?
oh, it's got, oh, I thought you left.
We're,
Oh, okay.
we're gabbing in the hall.
So number 5 is,
No, we should have finished all of yours first, Scott.
so review your permit fees. So I know there's a couple of specific permit fees you want to talk about tonight.
You can have my spot. I'm cool.
The last time we reviewed permit fees was what, 2 years ago? 2 years ago? Yeah.
I recall.
2 or 3.
Yeah, okay.
So the only one that we proposed for the change for tonight was the demolition fee. This kind of came up as a topic during the budget meeting with the administrator's office and the CFO. Demolition permit fee is currently $100 for a demo permit.
So if somebody was going to demo and tear down a building like, I don't know, Angelica's, that would be $100.
Correct.
If I was going to demo a shed in my backyard,
If it was big enough for a
if it was
building
big enough
permit, it would
for
be
a building
$100.
permit, it would be
Yeah.
$100.
So,
I think it's time to address our permit fee on demolition.
yeah, so basically, all we're proposing is that we take away the line item, that demolition fee is $100, and just include it in the building permit fee.
The comprehensive building permit
So
fee.
if it's a residential, it's $11 per thousand, and if it's a commercial, it's $13 per thousand. So say your average demolition of a small house, they recently did one down on Forest Street, there's a redevelopment going on there.
And they hit ledge.
A house that size, say the demolition is $20,000, their permit fee is gonna go up a little over $100.
But if you're tearing down Angelica's, it's not gonna be.
Correct. So,
$20,000
it's not hurting the developers who are tearing down the smaller homes to redevelop them, but those fees will be more in line to cover the,
Is there ever a demolition without a building permit for something new?
If there was a fire, that you had to tear down the building and demo it, but there was not a building permit pulled yet to
So-
replace it.
Well, like our fire station would be an example.
Well, we would exempt ourselves from the.
yeah, we're already exempt from,
Right, right,
we
but
exempt
something like that.
ourselves from the housing
That's
authority.
what I'm
Street?
getting,
The townhouses maybe? It's going back a bit. Trying to think of a structure that was taken down.
And never
Something prior
replaced.
for something new.
so, I mean, you're talking about a situation where somebody's tearing down a building so they can build something new.
Correct.
If somebody's, tearing down a big shed that had a building permit, but they're tearing it down so to have more yard.
Yeah.
There's no building permit, so.
Well, if it required a building permit, there would be a building permit to take down.
Well, that-
But
So
we're saying-
basically, I look at it as if you needed a building permit to put it up.
Yeah.
You need a building permit to take it down.
And
The trigger is 200 square feet on a residential house for requiring a building permit. So if you have an 8x10 shed in your backyard.
All right,
And you're gonna,
I miss that. So you will base the demolition
On the size.
permit fee based on the size of what is being taken down,
Well, the co-
not on the size of what something is going to replace.
correct, yeah, so if.
Okay,
if you-
I took it the same way Costa did.
No, so if you're
too.
coming in, and we'll use some round numbers, if it's a $20,000 demolition, they're gonna pay, if it's residential, $11 per thousand on $20,000.
And if someone had an expensive asbestos abatement paid to a third party, would that be included in that cost, or would that be separate?
That would be separate.
Separate?
Because we don't permit abatement. The abatement's permitted through the DEP.
So it's not part of, you wouldn't add the cost of that as part of the cost of the
Oh, you'd
demolition?
have a cost, but it wouldn't be part of the
It wouldn't be
permit.
part
Correct,
of the
so
cost
the demo
for the-
permit cost will be, what they have in a contract with their demo
Absent that,
contractor
that
for
would-
the,
So if there was a building that had burned, that needed to be removed, and they had no plans yet to rebuild, but it had to be taken down, you'd require a permit to be pulled to take that building down.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's an emergency basis.
yeah, so how the code works on emergency basis is, and then there's some DEP rules, so even on an emergency demo, it's not happening like 2 hours after the fire, there's some DEP notifications that are required. They're required to pull a permit the following business day.
Got it.
But say it was a fire, there's a lot more to it, because when you can't show that a building was properly abated, the DEP is highly involved, because basically the entire demo is treated as a hut.
Hut.
And,
Yep,
so
understood.
they try to avoid that whenever they can, obviously, for that reason.
So what we need to do here is remove from your permit fee cycle the $100 fee for demo.
Yeah,
And
Regular permit fee.
just,
do we have to provide language for that, or is there already language for a permit for demo? Jackie?
If I may, you will delete the existing demolition permit, and in the building permit fee, we'll add a parenthetical including demolition in any of the other building permit fee categories, so that people understand that those are inclusive.
Okay.
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? I pass unanimously.
thank you.
Scott, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Now you can go home,
Thanks,
like
Scott.
really go home.
You sure you don't want to cover? I mean, you look
You
great
can
up
sit
there.
and watch the rest if you want.
I'll catch it tomorrow on,
Okay.
when Paul gets it up on
Must
the.
watch TV. Thanks, Scott.
See you later. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to item number 4. Again, Select Board, Town Administrator, Town Council, miscellaneous budgets under the TA office will be referred to a future meeting. And let's move to number 4, which is refer comprehensive zoning to the planning board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to go high level on this, given where we are in the evening. So just as a refresher, this is actually a comprehensive rezoning effort started before I got to town, and was partially funded through an appropriation, partially funded through grant funds secured by Katrina O'Leary, and then the whole.
This was due to a town meeting warrant article by a resident.
Correct. And the nexus for that was that the zoning hadn't been meaningfully updated since, I want to say, 2008. What ended up happening, though, was MBTA communities and the ADU bylaw issues reared their head and kind of pulled the full attention from that effort. And so it became less of a comprehensive zoning review, and it became more of a pretty heavy lift on those two targeted issues. Those have come and gone. I mean, they're still kind of lingering, but set aside for now, but we still have work to do here. And so when Anna Carmer came on, that was one item that we assigned to her among several planning initiatives that had kind of been backburnered that we wanted to see move forward. So she took the ball and ran with it in earnest. There's been a pretty significant public process going throughout, resulting in your packet, VHB, the consultant, just under 40-page document, kind of running through the process. A public forum held in late September of 2025, this most recent fall. As I mentioned a little earlier in the meeting, set aside briefly, but picking up again now to continue pushing forward through a more formal public hearing process with the planning board. So what we had talked about a little bit internally was, in your most recent memory, the select board was referring this type of item back to the planning board for MBTA communities because they were revisiting something. This time around, it's our belief that technically the select board doesn't need to refer this to the planning board. However, it would be our recommendation to, just as a courtesy and a nod to the fact that the select board had initiated this process and you're carrying through on a town meeting commitment because it was funded on the floor, basically just asking as a courtesy that the planning board review this. And that will kind of start the clock on their hearing process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If I can, Mr. Chairman, I move that we refer the comprehensive zoning to the planning board.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There is a
Can I
second.
ask a question?
Sure.
We also have that group working, I think Costa is on it, on the North Main Street.
Which hasn't started working yet.
Because wouldn't we want that finished before we vote on a whole new zoning in case there's some zoning changes we want up there?
So the hope was that process would be more hand in hand, but it just didn't work out that way based on schedule and availability. So what I would say is take the bulk of the work in here, which I think for the sake of updating needs to be done. Relative to items specific to North Main, I think if there's something more targeted that comes out of that, coming through as a one standalone item, I guess in so many words, I see the value in doing it hand in hand. I also see the value in carving it out and giving people an opportunity to look at it for just that one
Sure.
piece instead of it getting mixed into, swept under
Okay.
in this bigger thing. So it's, either way, but yes, your recollection is correct. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Okay, we're going to take a review of draft items for the annual town meeting warrant.
Thank
Which
you.
is item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is in its draft form. Just a reminder, at this point in time, we have 22 potential articles. A lot of these are usual and customary articles. So just from the top, hearing committee reports, paying bills of prior fiscal years, the snow and ice deficit, if there is one, retroactive pay for the library collective bargaining agreement. As you may recall, we came to an agreement on that outside of sequence, and we didn't have a special town meeting this fall. So that's why that's still hanging around there. Current year use of stabilization for the Middleton Municipal Complex to reduce borrowing, and the same with free cash. These are potentials, depending on how the cash flow works relative to where the project is at, relative to where town meeting falls on the calendar year. And so, and we'll cover this in the budget meeting on Saturday a little more in depth, but basically that pot of money that was set aside to take out what was described at that point in time as kind of the high level or high water mark in terms of project costs to try to ease that impact to people's tax bills. The way the debt is structured, fast forward, right, 3 or 4 or 5 years, the way the debt is actually structured in reality today, such a high water mark, that hump doesn't really exist. And so what we're wondering is, and this is working with Finance Director Wood, is rather than holding on that money and helping kind of mitigate those years, why not just pay that money up front and lessen the amount you're borrowing and paying less interest in the long run?
Well, in effect, that is eliminating a hump, because if we borrow more,
Spreading it out over the length of it.
there's a bigger jump to take care of that, so by.
6 of one, half dozen of another, right?
Instead of a hump, you're just lowering the level.
Yeah, the whole thing. So we'll continue just to keep that on there, and if we do find it to be advantageous, we'll make that recommendation. But for now, it's
These-
a placeholder.
Do we have some thoughts yet of what that amount looks like?
No, but we're crunching those numbers, so I'd say soon, real soon. Moving on, number 7, compensation for elected officials. Number 8, the 07, time flies, the 27 omnibus budget. Number 9, the fiscal 27 community preservation budget for debt service and existing projects and expenses. Number 10, for the same purpose, but if there are any new projects. 11, authorizing the fiscal 27 revolving fund spending limits. Number 12, fiscal 27 SESD enterprise budget. Number 13 for water, same fiscal year. Number 14, the amount of money that we get, the appropriation from MELD, which the number hasn't been nailed down yet. Number 15, transfers from reserve accounts. Number 16, the capital budget for fiscal 27. Number 17, Masco regional capital requests, which we've heard a little bit about, but I believe they're still nailing down. Separately, number 18, any specific or MSBA-specific language relative to the roof HVAC project. They have their own magic incantation that you have to put in legally to get that access to that money. Number 19, the Fuller Meadow roof construction debt capital requests. So as you may recall, the design appropriation already went through previously at a prior town meeting. This has allowed us to design the project. The project is going to go out to bid in March, and then we'll have a firm, concrete number to bring to town meeting, real dollars to the penny.
And if
of what that
approved,
is.
will that work occur?
This summer.
I was gonna say-
26.
Yep.
Yep.
So after July 1st.
Correct. Number 20, we have a note here for Lightner Way. I think it's a street acceptance.
Street acceptance, okay.
21, the WUMP that we had talked about several months ago, just creating the revolving fund relative to that. Number 22, the comprehensive zoning, which we just discussed. Number 23, police department retirement age. I've been having some conversations with the chief and captain about this under Mass General Law. It's set default at 65, but municipalities, if they so choose, can put forth a piece of special legislation to request a home rule petition, effectively that the legislature increase it up to 67. So if there's an appetite to do that, it will allow
Is there a required retirement age for fire?
Surely there must be, but I don't know offhand.
There is, I don't remember what it is.
Would you,
though.
are you asking because you'd like to do that hand in
No,
hand?
I'm just asking is a similar request or discussion happening?
There is no statutory requirement to require a call firefighter, but it's generally 65 under the Acts of 1987.
Oh, quick research team over here, real fast in real time.
Good old
He has a
Google.
Googling device.
Just the internet.
Look at
It's
that.
just the internet.
And then the last one, the field use revolving fund that we've been talking a little bit about with Superintendent Goodwin. Just trying to more effectively structure how we collect those funds and then pay them out.
So the MSBA language regarding the roof HVAC at Masco, this is not the year they're coming in and requesting an override?
For construction dollars?
Yes.
No, but you have to authorize, when the time comes, you have to authorize the project in the full amount with the understanding that you're gonna get reimbursed by the MSBA. But Masco is 1 year behind where, this building is.
No, I understand. So MSBA, Article 18 is coming in for what Fuller Meadow came in 2 years ago.
Actual construction dollars, yep.
Okay. Okay.
So this is a little bit of a fluid document. We'll continue to, solicit from our department.
And we're
heads
expecting, right now, one citizen's petition? Is there any more that's being,
Is there a citizen's petition?
yes?
Well, the one was announced in a public meeting. Trevor.
Recall provision for
Oh.
Masco.
I haven't heard anything else about that, though.
But, yeah, he made that statement at a school committee meeting. That's the only reason I know.
I'll follow up with him and see what the intention is there, but we haven't received
Okay.
anything. Gave me a heart attack for a second. Flashbacks.
I know I heard of one, but I haven't heard it filed.
And I do want to clarify, because I think in the last meeting I had offered a March date for the deadline for citizens petitions. It's actually far sooner. I have it right here in my hand. I'm not seeing it.
January 27th.
Thank you. At 5 p.m., 5 p.m. end of business.
So a week from today at 5 PM, a little less than 7 days from now.
And
So, in the spirit of that, I'll follow up with Mr. Carrier to see
Okay.
what they're intending to do.
And we've missed the deadline. Lightner Ways now missed the deadline for petitioning for street acceptance
Oh.
as of this week.
So we'll pull that.
When was that deadline?
It's on that piece of paper. I think it was January 9th.
And
Are they close or like not even close?
We heard about it months ago and haven't heard about it since. So.
Yeah, I mean, Lightner
from
Way's
the
all built
developer or
out.
from the residents?
From staff.
Staff, it was a maybe, and then we haven't heard anything else.
If
so-
we found out tomorrow that they weren't aware of that deadline and wanted to come, is there any mechanism that we can make that happen, or?
Per the charter. And they
Nothing we can
have,
do?
120 days.
and they have a number of boxes to check with as-built, cleaning
Okay.
the catch basins. It's not like a quick,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like if they were coming forward by whatever the date was, a lot of those things should have already been done.
correct.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Or at least scheduled with Superintendent
Yeah.
Goodwin.
okay.
And we'd know that by now, if those things are.
We haven't heard anything about it in months.
So assuming we have a citizen's petition and Lightner taking off, right now we're looking at 24 articles.
Yep.
Okay. Well, hopefully item 3 is not needed.
Yes.
Okay. That's good. You don't need any vote from us on that. Next on the agenda is number 8, is we're going to be closing out this evening the Elmira J. Richardson Scholarship Account Fund. So this is officially at a zero balance, or vote will move it to a zero balance?
It will move it to, it was a negligible amount that's no longer serviceable for its original purpose.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I would entertain a
And where
motion.
would the money go?
would just fall back to the
Yeah, general.
general fund.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the Elmira J. Richardson Scholarship Account Fund.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any
Can I ask a
further?
question? Has anyone reached out to the family to see if they wanted to fund it further, or?
So we didn't have a good contact for that purpose. We did make a point, though, of kind of asking around town hall if people had any history on it. We didn't want to just close it out and offend anybody if it was in someone's memory or, something to that effect.
It's been defunct for a very long time.
I'm assuming it's a very small amount.
It's under 5,000, I believe.
Is there an ability, instead of moving it to free cash, to add it to another scholarship fund that we have, so the dollars at least stay
I don't know if we
in
can
the
close
scholarship
out
line?
I think you would need a vote to appropriate that money.
from town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You couldn't
There
give it
was
as a
specific-
scholarship, a final scholarship to some student just one last time, whatever's left in there?
I mean, so it's been a defunct scholarship with I believe Masco for a number of years. It's just been holding, I mean, I think when you say 5,000, that might be generous. We're talking about like interest on, like minimal interest left. We can
The
get,
balance of up to 5,000.
Would this be a
That's what I
$500
remember, but I
line
could
item?
be wrong.
Is this like $500 or $4,900?
I can't remember
It's not
definitively, to
in-
be honest.
Could we maybe table it and see how much
Yeah.
it is, and see if we could maybe give one last scholarship with every penny left in it?
I can probably get it before the end of this meeting. If you.
Okay. We'll take item 8 and pause that for a moment and move to, while you're furiously typing, we're going to move to item number 9, comp and class. And we talked about this in the previous meeting of the continuous review and process of looking at our comp and class program. And Jackie, walk us through what we're looking at for fiscal year 26 through 28.
yes, thank you. So to start off, we are working to engage with the Collins Center once again. We do have some money that is in our departmental line for contractual services that I'm gonna start to use, because the first task that we need to do before we do anything else, and I think this board will agree, based on your prior feedback, is do a refresh on our 12 comparable communities. The last time you approved them was in March of 2022. So I think that's where we need to start, and that we're gonna try to start with quite immediately. There are also a few positions that we had intended to look at in the fall, but due to obligations of the department, we weren't able to start that process with the Collins Center. So I'm going to be engaging with them on those 2 tasks with the goal of coming back to you in the next couple of months within this fiscal year, which would then set me up for a capital article I'll be submitting for fiscal 27 to do some extended work. There's a few unions that we are continuing to meet with, and while we are still in the midst of collective bargaining, I will be putting forward money as well in that capital request to do market rate studies in 28 and 29 for some of those units. So the article I'm putting forward as a capital request will encompass what I need to get done in fiscal 27 and 28. So likely a 2-year cycle. In discussions with the administrator and with Finance Director Wood, let's do it all. Let's be done. In terms of structure, there are positions that we didn't do. So I was given the scope of work when I started here, as many of you that were on the board at the time will recall. I don't know what the rationale for some of the positions being included and some of our positions not being included is, but right now there are people who are permanent employees that are not on the non-union comp and class schedule that are also not represented by CBAs. So I want to just do a comp and class for everybody, not just the department heads and deputies.
Even if you have a contract.
No, that's a different category. If they have a contract, whether CBA or personal, they are bound by that contract, but I want a comp and class for every other person that is
How
on our
many total
payroll.
people do you imagine that would be, additional people?
Well, so the way the Collins Center will do it is by position, not by people. So we're talking about, there's like probably 4 kitchen aides at the COA. There's a front office position and the new position that both need to be comp and classed. So that's about half a dozen just at the Council on Aging.
Facilities director.
Facilities director. I'm sorry, I just totally blanked. The van drivers at the COA as well. So it's a lot of those interesting part-time positions, all the summer rec
Summer help,
positions.
summer rec,
Summer
summer
rec.
DPW.
Exactly. So let's do everybody on a schedule, update our grades,
That
update,
would also include transfer station.
transfer station attendance, great one. So all of those kind of smaller ones that we kind of forget about until all of a sudden we have to hire for them, and it's a challenging thing to hire for. So start with the 12 communities and a couple of positions we had previously identified in the fall, moving into a full schedule for everybody non-union, every single role, get everybody on one schedule with how the plan is to move forward. And I think I'd like to do it as a warrant article because I think it will take 27 and 28. And then I will also put funding in for the market rate studies I'm committing myself to, and and thus you to, in the collective bargaining agreements.
So when they when they go to other towns to compare, are they just looking at public records like a town meeting one or a book, or are they calling them up and saying, hey,
Well,
what do
they're
you?
emailing the HR directors, calling the HR directors. They're getting the most accurate data that they can.
So when someone contacts us the same way, are we always,
I'm-
here you go, this is what it is?
I'm not maybe like that responsive because it's been busy, but I work really hard to try within a week or two to get
So
people
you always
data.
give the information they ask for?
Yeah, because then
Not, they
when,
could always FOIA it.
Yeah.
which I would strongly request that my colleagues and I don't do that to each other. We just try to get it back and forth to each other.
When you're not responsive, they remember when you're asking for something down the road.
Right, and I was
So,
just
yeah,
wondering
it's
how
to
we
your
were.
benefit to
Oh yeah, we've got a good
learn
rep.
about
I
it.
respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll just reach out to the department head too, to
Absolutely.
find out, because not every position does not every position fits in a box out of the comparable communities.
And that's where the Collins Center also focuses on the job description. So they're not just looking at title. They're not doing title to title. They're doing function to function. And that's really important, and it's something I talk about with the staff a lot, is just because your title's the exact same, in a community of 8,000 and in a community of 14,000, you could be doing very different day-to-day operations with the same title. So that's where it's function to function, not title to title. But I just wanted to give you an update on this because we've kind of talked about it piecemeal. I'm still developing all that scope of work, so super happy to get your feedback either tonight or if you have something offline you want to talk about. But that's my current strategy. I feel like we talk about it and we kind of have nipped around at the edges since we did the big overhaul in the fall of 21 into the spring of 22. I think there were things that we missed, which for me, I just didn't know we were missing at the time. But I'd like to just finish it and do it all at once.
How's that impact for budgeting for 27?
We wouldn't be doing much for 27 in the sense that we're too into 27, unless it's one of those positions that we were intending to look at the fall that we know we can afford. But I think by the time we get it back from the Collins Center, we may miss the window for this town meeting, and I don't want it to be a last minute item going into the
Well,
town
we'll
meeting.
certainly miss it for
So could I ask,
budget prepare, right?
could I ask, I mean, two of the positions that are on the schedule right now are vacant. That we're in the process of recruiting, and then we'll be interviewing and hiring. Is there an ability to re-review those through this process prior to signing on the dotted line with those two employees that we'd be hiring, to make sure that we are
Where we're supposed to be.
where we're supposed to be?
If you're okay with me using some more of our contractual services money to do it, I would feel much more comfortable having a third-party consultant do it. And it means that, like, I would be trying to update our comparable communities very quickly, because I think that's part of it. I don't want to do those two on our current comparable.
I'm not so concerned about the comparable communities. I don't actually think it's going to change a lot. I think for purposes of being aligned to what we agreed to in the process, we have to look at where we are in the comparable communities, and should we be dropping or adding communities. I'm not so concerned that there's going to be a lot of change there. I'm more concerned about from 21, 22, whenever it was, till today, where are we for these two positions that we're actually actively recruiting for, and then we'll be making offers? And are those two positions where they should be?
But there was
Because,
a range advertised, right?
no, I mean, well, we have to advertise a range because the law in Massachusetts
right.
requires it now. But I want to make sure that, and it doesn't mean, even if, like, the category increases a little bit, they'll probably still be within that range. I just want to know, I think for those two positions, if we can expedite those two, and I don't know if we could look at it in a microcosm or not, but I would recommend we do so. Everything else you're talking about for 27 and 28, what you've just, absolutely, makes a ton of sense. I appreciate that. Like, positions that we decided not to put in there, I can just imagine when you have a summer rec position that you have to go fill and so forth, with just like the competition that's out there in other roles, like, you need to have some basis instead of trying to make a decision on the fly.
Yeah, and I think it'd be good, and then it's transparent, you can see it, it's all in one place, you're not searching for it.
Yep. Okay.
I'll do what I can, let me talk to the Collins Center, I'm sure I'll see them at, MMA at the end of the week, and we'll see try to get it turned around for your next meeting.
Okay.
Jackie, can I ask a favor? Can I have a copy of the layout document from the position to the comparable communities that were, say, our administration, not our, whatever title, what
You want the map of
communities,
function to function comp?
please?
Yeah,
Just whatever was compared to the positions.
yeah, I'll get that from the Collins Center. I let them do that part, so I'll have to grab it from the Collins Center, but let me work on that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, do you need a vote from us on this? All of what you've kind of proposed, or are you just informing us of, because I assume the vote will come when you propose the warrant article. But on the earlier piece that I just talked about in those two positions, do you need anything from
Not
us?
tonight, thank you.
Okay. Okay, was your test successful?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move back to item number 8, because he used his Googling device on the Elmira J. Richardson Scholarship Fund.
The Googling device actually was Sarah Wood here. So via text, she says it has 5,000 non-spendable in the account, and the only spendable portion at this point in time is 200. So it's
What is non-expendable?
so you have to hold a certain amount. You can't spend.
So we can earn
Principal.
interest to
Yeah,
give the
to earn
scholarship.
interest.
So you have to hold that until it's closed out.
Correct. So I think in 91, maybe not terribly old, but surprisingly long time ago when I think about it. I think 5,000 at the time they thought may accrue at a rate enough that it wouldn't deplete itself, but it lasted, 35 years.
34 years.
Yeah, 34 years. So
So that means, under the language of that, we have no choice but to turn it over to free cash.
it's the only way to free it up, or it's just going to sit there on the books forever. So we're just trying to clean it up and get it off the books.
The only way that we could divert it elsewhere is a warrant article that town meeting would approve when it's closed and the dollar is
It would be
utilized.
town meeting next year, once this free cash would get certified.
I'd like to see the money somehow go to a student, one way or another, whatever it takes.
If the author of it
So we-
didn't write it that way, and they're saying that you have to keep that 5,000 in there non-spendable,
We have the
for
document.
whatever
in the
reason, I
original.
know, I didn't read it, and I'm not reading it now.
So we'd have to close it out
I'm too tired.
this year.
And then reappropriate
In
it.
theory,
But
sit on
that's
it
not
for a year
unusual
Right.
for them
until
to
we,
do that.
to the next year's
And then
town,
specifically-
next town meeting, and then have it as an article that people could, and then, I mean,
Can town meeting
I could support that.
directly take the 5,000 and appropriate it to something, another
Without it being
stuff?
closed, like
Right.
town meeting forces the
Or is
closure.
that spending it, so to speak?
At that point, I'd say it's becoming messier than I envisioned it could. So let me go back and talk with council, and let me get you a full suite of options, and we'll bring it back here.
And if not, we'll close it out, and then we'll put a mental reminder that we
Yeah.
may in the future appropriate 5,000 from free cash. I mean, I look at this as the intent. If the
Right.
intent was
Right.
for scholarships, unfortunately, I mean, fortunately, it's lasted as long as it has. Unfortunately, the language requires 5,000 to be
Right.
untouched.
And in time, maybe something more appropriate presents itself that's easier to see where it goes, you know?
Well, I mean,
Whether it's a scholarship or
I mean, if you invest the 5,000 and get 4 or 5% a year, that's to a couple $100 a year. You can give us $1,000 scholarship every 5 years.
That's a great idea.
yeah.
We may also have another scholarship account we could tie it to so that it would become a more meaningful gift. As someone who recently, not as recently as I'd liked, but recently paid those, the $1,000 ones worth of books. So if you,
Which is still nice.
yeah, but it might be nice to like put it with another scholarship.
We'll get you options and bring
Okay,
it back.
okay, so I know there was a motion, and again, I would ask,
I remove my second.
okay, there is a second that's
I'll
been removed.
remove the motion.
Okay.
It's on hold.
So we will discuss this in a future meeting after some information. Thank you for getting the quick answer to that. Okay, number 10, annual license follow-up.
Almost ending. So tonight, Ferncroft Country Club, the golf course, is ready for your review and approval. They've dropped off their final check. So if we could please approve them. And then we only have one outstanding liquor. And then I will say that common vics are not ready for your review just due to lack of staffing in our office, but that should resolve for your next meeting. But the most pressing action is to review the liquor license and other outstanding licenses for the Ferncroft Country Club.
So what happens eventually with, how long do we wait? What happens with the one that's outstanding?
That's a question for this board to decide. I would offer that if I don't turn them in with the batch of reporting I need to do with the ABCC the first week of February, they basically will have to come back and apply as a new license.
That's automatic.
That's automatic. My recommendation tonight would be to authorize myself, Building Commissioner Fitzpatrick, and a member of the Middleton Police Department to provide them a warning and a notice in the next coming day or two that they are pending, and give them that final shot to attend February 3rd, just from the office perspective.
But that would be after the deadline, February 3rd, right?
Scott said that he could go out there. He said
Yeah.
it tonight. He could go out there tomorrow
Scott
or
said,
the next day.
yeah,
he
we
said.
can have Scott do that in the next day or two. If we're able to get them on your February 3rd agenda, I can turn in my annual report to ABCC on time.
Okay.
But administratively, respectfully, I know you're trying to be helpful with the enforcement, but we've reached the point of it starting to be diminishing returns until our office is more fully staffed.
No, I think around the turn of the
Who's
year, and a
left?
little bit after, we
Omega.
went above and beyond trying to help people, and we did help a lot of them get through the finish line, and you can't help people that don't want to help themselves at some point.
And we've talked about this before, but this is going to be followed up with, probably right after our budget cycle is done, a much more defined process that
With the fine.
is going to clearly state, after this date, you will not be approved. And that will go out with a letter long before the application starts, so everybody can get their ducks in a row.
So I'll move to approve the liquor license for the Ferncroft Country Club.
I'll second that.
And that would be all of their licenses,
Thank you,
right?
yes.
Okay, so that would be, I think they have 2 seasonal and 1,
No,
oh, the seasonal we do separate,
thank you. It's their common vic, and if they have an entertainment, which I can.
which they do. They do. It's part of their
They
common.
should.
Yep, it's their liquor, common vic, and entertainment.
Okay. Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, if any? Hearing none. That's passes unanimously. And last on the agenda is the move update. I know we've talked a little bit about it, but anything else to add?
Yep, so just only the last little piece, we have a department head meeting coming up Thursday morning of this week. You know, we're gonna be going over, we had broken it down basically in so many terms that a lot of furniture in the building is going to be new, so we don't have to worry about moving the existing furniture, more so decommissioning it, which is gonna be a separate process. Moving of the files is really the bulk of what this is, or any specialized election equipment or things like that. So I've been speaking with several companies that are on the state bid list for moving services. We're going to basically solicit quotes from them based on an estimate of how many totes that we're going to need, and get some pricing back. Whoever's the lowest price with a good track record, we'll go ahead and go with them, and they'll make the move. We'll get the totes about 2 weeks in advance of the move. We'll have to give them back 2 weeks after. So that way they're not gonna be hanging around the building unpacked indefinitely. And that's really the last piece of the puzzle here, so, home stretch.
So a lot of the furniture that's not being moved, some of it, like I was in your office, you have 2 drawers without a drawer front on it, so I'm assuming your desk isn't being moved. And your
It's
desk-
reached the end of life.
Your
Yeah.
desk is not probably going to be surplus to anybody. Is the plan by a certain date, the equipment in furnishings and other equipment that are in our current facilities that is either not able to be surplused is going to be disposed of by a certain date? What I don't want is a decommissioned building filled with desks missing drawer fronts.
Yep. So I think First Pass is offering it up to, townwide and the schools. If there's anything that they want, come and get it out, out by a certain date. After that, there are companies, actually the same ones on that state bid list, that do offer decommissioning services. Well, they'll package and do it all for you. That's something that I would like to explore, that I do feel would be an allowable.
They identify what's worthwhile, what isn't.
Yeah, and for a fee or a percentage of it, they'll get it out of there for you and
They'll dispose of it.
and throw out the rest.
So it's not like we have to bring it to the transfer station.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think there's value in there, and I do think it would fall under an allowable expense under the building project, because leaving those buildings is
Yeah,
part
no,
of that.
I
It is-
agree.
it is
I
part
just
of
don't,
it.
I just don't want,
It
like,
could sit for years if you let
I don't
it,
want the
so-
police station, fire station, Old Town Hall and Memorial Hall filled with,
Junk.
that somebody at some point is gonna have to deal with.
Agreed. So that's, our immediate priority is getting into the new building. The secondary is then making sure that that doesn't sit and languish for a year.
And is our plan that when we do mothball, we're mothballing empty buildings?
So in the immediate, we want to actually make sure that we don't have any empty, non-inhabited buildings. So for a brief period of time, for the buildings that we're holding on to, we're going to make sure that they're occupied on a daily basis, and that we do store some things there.
What do you mean by
Peter-
occupied on a daily basis?
So
I'm confused by
if I may, Peter Coleman, if he's available, will be coming to be your next meeting's department head. He's working closely with our insurance company and with our miscellaneous maintenance vendors to ensure that while these buildings are still in our care, custody, and control, they're being appropriately monitored and cared for and insured.
You don't want an abandoned building on your insurance.
Right.
So we're going to make sure that
So it will not be abandoned if there's
they'll still be heated.
some files that are there that,
Up to a certain percentage, yep. So we're gonna make sure that we do that while we're working to offload some of these buildings, some of which,
We really need to have hone in on a serious conversation of the senior center building. I don't think we really have come to any conclusions at all.
that's
what
the
to do.
only one that we really don't have any good direction on.
I think we really need to.
Yeah, agreed. So, so I'd say in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're locked in on landing the plane on the new buildings and getting into it, and then immediately pivoting to picking up where we left off on some of these, where we've gotten some good headway done in advance on a lot of the buildings we're leaving behind, but between, my own leave and the holidays and everything else, and the phase that we're at on this project right now, our attention's kind of pulled towards just getting this thing done. But we're immediately, no rest in between. We're immediately turning and getting rid of the other
We're
buildings.
getting town meeting and then this.
Yep.
Okay. Anything additional on move update?
No, thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
any
Chair, can we go back one item?
to comp and class or annual license?
The licensing?
Yes.
I just didn't hear, is that okay direction from the board that I work with the building commissioner and the police department on getting that last liquor licensee?
Yes, but they will still, I'm assuming,
They need to appear at your
Thank you.
February 3rd meeting. I just wanted to be clear, I didn't hear
yeah,
that.
that was my assumption, but if it wasn't clear in the motion,
Just so that it's
thanks for clarifying.
Clear in public
Yep,
meeting that
yep.
that is our direction. Thank you.
Okay. Any new business or announcements from the board?
I do not.
Okay, hearing none. Our next meetings are February 3rd, Select Board meeting, and February 17th, Select Board meeting. And on the 7th, that Saturday at 8:30 a.m. in this room will be our annual first budget Saturday meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion. All those in
I'll second.
favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.